Hey everybody, welcome to Eldritch Noir for tonight. This is episode 3. Maybe we're halfway in, maybe we're only just starting out. I don't know what's happening. It's a lot of stuff. Before we get into it, we have a couple of things to talk about. First thing, we talked about this on Wednesday night on Ready to Roll, but there's been some extra developments and stuff, which is really great, is that we now have a podcast. Like a podcast channel for our shows. It's not an extra podcast. It's not like us sitting down and talking about other things outside of the stuff. It's that the show is now in podcast form for if you can't watch the VODs, if you can't watch it live, if you don't want to look on YouTube, if you want to like go for a walk and listen to stuff, they're available. I'm going to drop the command in chat right now. That is the main place that you can find it, but it is available on Spotify. It's available on Google Podcasts. It's available on Amazon Music. Just look up Homebrew Hall. It should come up very, very easily. We have 3 episodes out already. I'm working on putting the other ones out there. Takes me a little bit of time, and we have a backlog to go through. But yeah, that'll be Ready to Roll. It'll probably be a lot of the Rehash the Rolls episodes. It'll be all of these Eldritch Noir episodes. Just be patient. Oh my gosh, if I can talk. Just be patient so that we can catch up to live as well. Other than that, we have Rehash the Rolls next week on Wednesday. The guests are going to be me, Patrick, and Ian from Ready to Roll. Not this wonderful Ian that we have here tonight. Like we've said before, you can enter questions into the Google form about Eldritch Noir, and once we have enough questions, we will schedule a rehash episode to answer those. But because this is a smaller, less in-depth show, we're not going to make sure to have one every single time. But yeah, ask questions for me, Patrick, and other Ian in the Google form. Still to be determined if there's going to be a painting stream next week. I'm getting busy. I think that's it for the announcements. So without further ado, we're going to move to the wonderful intro screen for Eldritch Noir. All right, Ian, and you have our recap of last game.
Alrighty. Last week, our heroes left the scene of the crime, the Silverleaf Lounge. Vivian and Tina following Elhan home to stay at his apartment during the investigation. Elhan called up his friend, co-worker, who knows, Delilah, to stay at the apartment to make sure everything goes well. Meanwhile, Sev went home and met up with Tano, his old friend. Jean that night went home and met up with his killer friend, Edie. Then the next morning, he met up with his crew and went over some possible plans, trying to figure out who could have set him up. Sev waited for Elhan in his favorite bar, the Tin Man, talking to his crush, Ava. Elhan and Vivian went to the precinct and collected evidence about the man who Elhan replaced, finding evidence linking him to the current case. Afterwards, he was told to drop it by his boss, Anderson. Shortly after, he and Vivian went to meet Sev and went over the evidence, discovering that some of the leather found at the scene and on the old partner was a drug used by werewolves to induce a blissful state. During this, Jean and his boss went to Elhan's apartment to follow him and gather some evidence, in which Jean's boss jumped the gun and started kidnapping Tina and Delilah. And that's where we left off.
Yes, that's where we come into it tonight. So Jean, you are over by the front door, which has been closed in your face by this unknown Aasimar woman that you've seen. What do you want to do?
Well, I will wait.
Okay.
Because I can't go back outside and risk being annihilated by my boss. So, hopefully he doesn't take too long.
Okay. Make a perception check for me, please.
Rip. Alright, my glasses are fuzzy, so I couldn't see. That is a 16.
Okay. So you standing in this hallway, here on the other side of the door, a slight commotion and muffled voices. It's far enough away that you're not able to distinguish what they're saying, but you can hear a conversation between multiple female voices.
Multiple?
Mm-hmm.
Like how many?
2, maybe 3.
Okay. I'm gonna open the door. And I'm gonna go inside.
It is locked.
Well, it's a good thing that I'm good at that. So, can I make a...
Yes, go ahead and
check?
roll with your thieves' tools. It's not an incredibly complicated lock, I would think.
Oh, I don't think it'd be a pretty complicated lock.
As complicated as
Why?
possible, with you just having moved in a few weeks before.
Do I add anything to that?
Your dexterity and your proficiency modifier.
Oh, a 22.
Yeah, it is extremely easy for you to unlock this door. However, as you push the door open, there is one of those like wraparound chain locks around the top that stops the door from opening all the way.
Can I at least hear better then?
Yes, though at this point, the noises have kind of fallen silent. But you hear a door opening from further down the hallway. You turn your head for a second and you see the half-orc driver, Tony, walking up the hall towards you. He's got one hand inside of his jacket.
Tony! My man, my friend. What's going on out there?
You know, outside, not so
Yeah.
much.
What's the boss doing?
Just taking care of some business. She asked me to come in and see if you needed some help.
Well, you know, the old, telegram trick didn't work this time. So I'm waiting on them to finish whatever women discuss.
Mm-hmm. Make a deception
It's,
check, please.
That's going to be an unnatural 20.
Okay. Did you pull the door back closed, or is it still like opened up a bit?
It's still slightly open. Tony knows what I do for a living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He kind of looks down at you. He's a bit taller than you.
What's that?
Need some help getting in?
Nope. We're doing it my way this time, Tony.
So we just wait? This seems highly ineffective.
I'm gonna
You
Tony.
notice he hasn't come extremely close to you. He's still standing a good 10 feet down the hall from you. With his hand still inside of his jacket.
what you got there?
Do you have to ask?
It's not gonna start throwing any metal at me, is it?
Not unless I need to. We are in a building full of people.
That's never stopped you before.
Never forced my hand before. You see his eyes kind of go out of focus for a second. You can tell he's getting a message from Ayana. I think the boss is done. He's ready for us to come back outside.
All right. But you gotta put your hands where I can see him. You know the drill. A gentleman doesn't walk around with his hands in his pockets. Makes everyone a little jumpy.
Who said I was a gentleman?
Tony, you're Fiana. You have to at least be able to pretend to be a gentleman. Even if you don't say anything.
Roll a persuasion check at disadvantage.
Disadvantage, huh?
Mm-hmm. Let's pull out Tony's sheet. Let's see what he can do.
15.
What's his insight?
It's too bad because it would have been a 24.
Uh-huh. You see his hand relax from whatever he was holding on to and come out of his jacket pocket. After you.
How about we go side by side?
How about you just go first? You have a problem with that?
Just a little bit. A little on edge, you see. You should know why. I've never been locked up before. And you and I have not always seen eye to eye. So we go out together.
Fine. Whatever. He starts walking back out. He's not even actually waiting for you. Like, he occasionally turns his head back to see if you're coming, but he's not even gonna just wait for you to walk side by side.
I'm going to... Can I make a sleight of hand check to try and leave one of the green... What did I call it? The Greenleaf Printing Company business cards in through the door?
Yeah, go ahead.
Uh, 18.
Okay. Tony's perception roll is a grand total of an actual 0. Natural 1 minus 1. So he's tall enough that he actually like bonks his head onto like a light fixture that's coming out into the hallway right as you do that, and just perfectly slip it right under the door.
You okay there, Tony?
He's got like a little bit of like dust and cobwebs like on his face and in his hair, and he's just like wiping it off like, I'm fine. I'm cool.
See,
I'm good.
We're walking side by side like gentlemen. You wouldn't have bumped your head in that light that's in the middle of the hallway.
He doesn't answer. He just continues walking out the door.
I'm gonna slowly close the door behind me and follow Tony out.
Mm-hmm. So as Tony walks out the front door, he immediately turns off to go to the side of the house. Do you follow? What do you do? He doesn't head towards the car. He goes towards the side of the house where Ayana was, where you left her.
Yes, I follow.
Okay. You turn around the corner of the building, and what you see Ayana standing off in the... It's sort of like individual, like backyards. It's all conjoined, and there's like a small hint of a fence between each individual unit. So she's kind of standing out in the, like the little courtyard space there. And she's got Tina. She's got one arm around her like this. You see that there's some sparkle of a blade, and she's got her gun out pointed towards the building, aimed towards something or someone that you cannot see.
Poppy.
Do you approach?
No.
All right, then what do you do?
Can I make a perception check to see what she's pointing at?
I would say you don't necessarily need to make a perception check. You can guess it is probably the other person that was in the apartment. Some person that's on the inside. And you can see also that she is quietly speaking to this person. You're not close enough to hear what she's saying. As Tony walks up, she kind of she holds the hand with the knife. She backs it away from Tina for a second to kind of hold him away just for a moment.
I'm gonna get a little closer while trying to stay out of sight of the window.
Okay, make a stealth check.
Haha! Natural 20.
Haha. So that's what? Super, super high?
Yeah, 27.
Okay, yeah. Nah, alright. You are not just hidden from the windows of the inside, but you are hidden enough to not be attracting attention from Ayana or Tony.
He's John Cena. What? So what are they saying?
So as you get closer, it is Ayana trying to convince Delilah to come out. Not that you know her name is Delilah, not like she's saying her name, but it's just this quiet, come out the door, come out the window, or I'll shoot. And this sweet little girl will have some injuries as well. You know, that sort of threatening thing.
Can I, get Ayana's attention and, hand gesture that I'm gonna go back in and around?
Yeah, sure. She glances over at you. Sorry to any audio listeners, there's a lot of gesturing going on. So you intimate to Ayana that you want to go back inside. She gives you this glare, but she does not say anything.
Well, I'm going back inside then.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna open the door, and what I want to do is I want to pull out my rapier and try and use it to slide that door chain so I can open it completely.
Okay. This is just a plain old sleight of hand check.
Uh, 22.
Okay. Yeah, you are able to do so. And I'm having Ayana roll against Delilah, and those are both really terrible rolls. I'm not sure what that means. Ooh, okay. Yeah, so you open the door. It's a fairly open concept apartment, so you can actually see across through the living room to this back window. There is also a back door to go out into the unit specific backyard. You don't see anyone standing at the window anymore. What you see is the back door is now open. And you see some figures out the back window.
Okay, so this is going to be a question for Elhan based off of his tendencies. So, Elhan, would you happen to have a little corner piece that has, like a lot of people did back then, where it's got, your favorite kind of brandy or scotch or whatever and some glasses?
Sure.
for company. What I want to do is I want to grab one of those glasses and then pick up the card. And I'm going to quickly cross out the number for the actual Greenleaf printing press or company and write my own and put it in the glass. And I'm going to go out the back door.
Okay. So you walk out and you are greeted with the image of Tony, who now has a gun to the back of this second figure, who's walking with them towards the car. Iona is standing there waiting for you with Tina. Find what you were looking for?
Sloppy. So sloppy.
Well, I had to do it by myself. Apparently you weren't quick enough to be helpful.
You didn't have to do it by yourself. You had to give me time. You say I don't do it the way Tony does, where I leave bodies and property damage.
Do you see bodies or property damage?
Not this time. But when was the last time someone could pin a body to me? Oh, that's right. I don't kill people. The other people before me do.
Yeah, that's not your job.
Right. But you didn't let me do my job this time. I thought you trusted me.
And I thought that you would do what I tell you to do.
On a public street. We're at the home of the only not crooked cop in the city. Got some rando we've never seen before here watching out for his little girlfriend.
Glass.
Odds are she's not a crooked cop, and you just took one of the good ones, boss.
Glass, do you know why I dress in bright colors?
No.
It has to do with something called self-confidence. It's not just that I know that I look stunning in these outfits, it's that I don't mind if I'm seen. I don't hide when I go around doing my business. Because I know that if someone turns on me, if something goes wrong, that I can handle myself. And that what I have going for me is better than whatever anyone else has going for them. Why I only need me and Tony to come here and clean up whatever mess that you've gotten into.
Mess you sent me into.
I did not tell you to come to this apartment. That was all up to you.
You did tell me to go to the bar. And that's where the whole mess started.
This was an extracurricular all of your own.
Look, you gotta trust me. You gotta let me do it. The way you pay me to do it. Otherwise, what do you got me here for? There's other stuff I could be doing. I didn't ask you to be
here in the first place, sweetie.
There's other stuff I could be doing than catching witnesses. I could have sent Addis and Chad to do it, but then we'd have a crime scene.
Well, what I need from you now is to get in the car with these lovely ladies. Be an extra person to keep an eye on them while we drive over somewhere. A new place for them to stay. A little bit nicer than this poor sap's apartment.
Right.
Now, are you going to listen to me this time?
Yeah, I'd rather not end up like that one cop.
She gives you a bright smile that does not reach her eyes. She nods over to the car, starts pulling Tina along with her. Do you get in the car?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the setup of this car, Tony has put this mystery woman in the passenger seat up in the front. Iona has sat behind her and has Tina in the middle, tells her, lean all the way down, touch your nose to your knees, keep your hands on the behind your back, don't move.
Or what we could do, and I'm gonna put my arm out and kind of just like have my pull Tina back up and just like have my arm around her, but have the other hand just kind of like sitting on my 38. Just talk to me. Better not don't let anybody we pull up next to lean over and see you in the fetal position.
I mean, maybe our poor dear is sick. She gets car sick.
That's okay. She's got a nice shoulder pad to lean on.
All right, keep focused on her then, okay? And she sets her pistol up on the back seat, on the back of the passenger seat, right behind Delilah's head, pointing towards her. And you start off.
It's too bad I'm not an assassin right now.
All right.
And I'm gonna lean over and just kind of whisper to Tina, don't worry about it. I got this under control. What's the name of your friend with the detective?
I need you to make me a persuasion check.
Can I do intimidation?
Depends on what you want.
I just want an answer.
What's your method? Are you trying to be intimidating or are you trying to be charming? Because that's going to inform what kind of roll you make.
I guess let's go with charming. I'm not very intimidating. I mean, I
You're
am.
being good cop this time.
But that's going to be another dirty 20.
So Tina is absolutely rigid with fear. Very stiff as your arm is around her.
I want to clarify, my arm is hovering over her, so my suit coat's touching her, but I'm making extra efforts to not touch her.
Okay. Cool.
And my arm is on fire.
Well, you can kind of rest it up against the back of the seat in there. She kind of looks over at you and then turns her head and looks over at Ayana. I don't know if I ought to say.
Oh, it's okay. It'll just stay with the three of us.
And I definitely shouldn't say.
Okay. What was a girl like you and a girl like her working in a bar like that? She's the, Tina was an ace bar, wasn't she?
Yeah.
You got the glowing eyes and the halo. You could have gone somewhere so much classier than that dump.
Bars need people to work in them. I needed somewhere to be.
But if you could pick where you wanted to be, where would you go?
Well, I wouldn't be working in a bar at all.
Right. What would you want to do?
Not be here talking to you.
We got a lot of resources here. We can make your dreams come true. But you gotta give us a little something.
Yeah, Criminal Underworld's got a lot of connections in the entertainment industry. I'm so sure of it.
I mean, but we do.
You can tell she's talking. The only reason she's talking to you at all is because you rolled so well. She's both terrified and what's the right word? Fired up a little bit. So our only way to push back is to be a little bit rude to you.
Friends with that detective, right?
Say again. I'm so sorry. I missed the first word that you said.
Your friend is with that detective, right?
I don't know.
I mean, don't play dumb with me. Don't insult my intelligence. Have I insulted yours?
This isn't an equal trade situation.
No. And trust me, you and I are both at her mercy.
You hear Ayana kind of laugh on the other side.
But if you play fair with her, she'll usually play fair with you. And I'm going to lean over to her and kind of like try and whisper in her ear. He's any good, he'll find the clue that was left behind.
She stiffens as you get closer to her and you say this. Kind of looks at you out of the corner of her eye. And looks back to the front. At this moment, from the front seat, there is a shout and an explosion of radiant, fiery light from the passenger seat. Tony loses control of the vehicle, swerves. At this point, you are kind of on a highway overpass. Slams into the barrier on the side. I need you, everyone else in this car, to make a Constitution saving throw. Wow. Well, Miss Fodder, your dice are not working. What'd you get?
Level 6.
Level 6. Darn. I was gonna see if I could talk you into letting me use evasion, but I don't have it yet.
No, this is not about moving quickly. You are seatbelted into a car. This is about how well you're able to withstand the effect of a car accident.
It was Constitution saving throw, you said?
Yes.
Gonna be a 16.
Well, you
Please
did
don't kill me.
miles better than anyone else in the car. So the car veers and slams into the barrier at the side of the highway. The engine at the front explodes into steam and sparks and different arcane fluids spurting everywhere. Looking around, everyone in the car is stunned except for you. Because I couldn't roll well for any of them. Tony actually looks severely injured. He's got like a cut across his brow. He's very much unconscious. It seems like everyone else is just stunned.
So rules mechanically, what does stun mean?
They cannot move, they cannot speak, they cannot take any actions.
So does that mean that I can coup de grace Ayana?
She's not paralyzed, so it wouldn't be like a crit or anything like that. You would have you would have advantage on an attack against her, but it would not be a critical attack if you hit.
I'm just shoot her in the face.
Technically, she's stunned. It's considered incapacitated. Technically, it would be considered a coup de grace.
Is it?
I believe so.
That's news to me.
I might be wrong, but if I'm looking at it on here...
Incapacitated just means a creature can't take actions or reactions. A creature that is stunned is incapacitated, can't move, and can speak only faltering. They automatically fail strength and dex saves, and attacks against them have advantage. So you wouldn't be able to coup de grace her. No. So what do you want to do? Choose quickly.
I have to think here. I didn't expect
No thinking
to-
aloud. Just move. Just go. Also, let me
I
change
didn't-
this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, since the other two were friends with what's his face, I am going to use my advantage, and I am going to shoot Ion in the head.
Okay. I'm not gonna have you roll for the attack. With point blank range, we are gonna consider that an auto crit with a firearm directly to the head. So with our current firearm crit rolls, that is 5 times damage instead of merely the 2 times damage of a typical crit. So go ahead and roll that.
Pistol is 1d10 plus Dex is so +4 for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then my sneak attack is 2d6. I don't think it went up, right? I'm just sorry, I'm double checking that myself.
It should be
Oh,
3d6.
3d6.
Yep.
Okay. And then tell me one more time the crit rules. I'm not like super up on that since I normally don't play.
So instead of rolling twice, roll 5 times.
Oh. 10, 19. That's gonna be a 23, 33, 41, and then sneak attack is 46, 47, 48.
48 damage.
Yep.
She's not dead. Just barely. You like blast off one of her like large Eladrin Fey ears, completely gone. Takes off a chunk of like the side of her face. Blood, the gun smoke, like all of that fills the car. There are other cars kind of like veering around you, and you start to hear screams of people as they pull up around you.
If she's stunned, can I shoot again?
Well, at this point now we need to roll initiative. Okay, what'd you get?
14.
Okay. As you're coming to do whatever you want to do, Iona does actually. She got a 17. She, the impact of the bullet, the noise of everything shakes her from her stunned state. She immediately swings her gun around, very dazed by what has happened to her, and points her gun right across Tina between your eyes.
First, you blasted that cop in broad daylight, and then you kidnapped a woman right on the empty street. You're insane, and you need to die. Your time is up, old woman.
Her speech is a little bit slurred as she's still recovering from being stunned and shot in the head. Nothing came of what happened to that cop. That is my business. It is not for you to meddle in or for you to judge me, Glass. And you questioning me is the same is going to happen to you. And now she's going to pull the trigger on you. I will allow you to make a dexterity saving throw because you are not stunned. Try and magically dodge out of the way of this bullet.
Boy. 25.
Okay. It's not going to crit on you. And she doesn't have advantage, but she doesn't get her sneak attack. So you only take
rogue.
you only take 12 points of piercing damage as she unable to fully focus on you. Her aim drifts. Doesn't impact you fatally.
It's just like
Yes, it is your turn now though.
I'm going to finish her off.
Okay,
I hope.
go ahead. She gets to make a dex save now.
That's a 19 to hit.
Yeah, with it being like you're essentially touching each other with your weapons, attack rolls are not really a thing. It's more a dex save to not get crit on, which she rolled a 27. So it's just the basic damage, no sneak attack. Because Tina does not count as a ally right now.
Tina, no! That's 13.
That's enough to kill her. How would you like to do this? How would you like to kill your boss? All right.
Just 2 bullets, double tap. And then... no, go ahead, sorry. I did not expect to kill my boss. Like, she's stunned, and I'm like, she's tried to get me arrested and killed. It's game on.
Yeah, just a splatter of crimson covers the back windows of the car. She falls and is dead.
And then I'm going to shoot Tony while he's unconscious.
Okay. That will very easily kill him. He is not nearly as high level as any of the rest of y'all, so...
And we were what did you say we ran into? Were we on a bridge, or...?
Yeah, a highway overpass.
Okay, I'm going to throw off my tie and my coat, and I'm going to dive into the water.
Oh, it's not like a river underneath you. It is another road going underneath the highway. So if you dive off, you will hit traffic.
Oh. Gotcha. What time of day is it?
Well, this would be like 10:30, 11 a.m.
How do I get out of this one? I'm gonna lean forward, and I'm going to try and wake up or get the attention of the ASMR woman in front of me. Since, you know, to me, Tina's just like a barmaid thing, and I'm just like, you're absolutely useless, but I don't know who this person is. And she just like nuked everybody. So it's like, hey, wake up! Wake up!
So, waking her is doable. However, as she wakes and turns, it looks at you. Her eyes are burning with this radiant, holy rage. Wait. Instantly tell that she is not friendly towards you.
All right, look, I know how this looks. However, I just saved you. Here, you can have my gun.
She snatches your gun from you, turns it right around towards you, and is going to take a shot. Make another dex save.
Patrick, your friends suck. That's a nat 20.
Okay. So, you're just going to take... What is it for your gun?
1d10.
1d10. And then she does not have a great dex. So, that's only 4 points of piercing damage.
Wait! Stop! Wait! Look! I just took out the leader of the Regalia and her most trusted bodyguard right here. I literally just cleaned up most of this area for the whole city. I don't know who you are. I don't know why you were with the detective's friends. But, like, I'm not a problem to you anymore. So
Her voice is much like deeper and booming, but it still has that slight southern twang. I don't care, you're a criminal. She's very clearly gonna keep attacking you.
she's literally the worst effing cop ever. Alright, I'm gonna pull out my
There's
rapier and I'm
reasons.
gonna stab it through the seat in front of me.
Okay. Tina, by the way, screaming her poor little waitress brains out.
That is a natural 20 to stab as well.
Okay. No sneak attack on this. Also, only doubling this crit because it is not a gun crit.
So 14.
Okay. 14 math. All right. Let me not erase her max hit points. Let me actually just update her current hit points. So yeah, you stab through the back cushions of this of the seat into her back. She roars in fury. Shoves open the side, like the door of the car, and she's gonna start trying to heave the car over the side of the highway, over the overpass. Oh no, that's really good too. Okay, she's not proficient in athletics. That's only a dirty 20, not a 20 plus. It's gonna take her a couple tries, but she is in process of throwing the car over the side of the overpass.
Okay, well, is it my turn?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna grab Tina and then put the rapier up to her throat and be like, you know, if you kill me, you kill her.
Seems unfazed.
Can I get out of the car?
Yeah.
Okay, would like to get out of the car.
Okay. Do you do anything to Tina? Or do you leave her in the car?
I'm gonna leave Tina in the car. Like, she hasn't done anything.
Mm.
Then I am going to... So, like, where along the overpass are we? Like, how far in were we?
About halfway. You kind of
Okay,
guess that maybe Delilah planned it that way. Maximum impact.
Can I make an acrobatics check and try to, like... You know how, like, overpasses have, like, those supports underneath them?
Mm-hmm.
Can I, like, try and, like, get over the railing and be, like, to be hanging on to those supports?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I have the movement next turn, I'm gonna try and, like, climb down.
Okay. Yeah, roll an acrobatics check.
19.
Yeah, you're able to like leap over, catch the barrier, use that to convert your momentum so you can kind of like koala bear around one of these supports.
I'm not your enemy here, but you just made a grave mistake.
All right. What is your plan now?
I'm gonna escape.
Okay. I will say you are a rogue. You are way faster than her. She is not going to be able to catch up, as there are also, and at this moment there is the sound of sirens as different, quick response vehicles of all types are converging on the scene. You see her, or rather, you can't because you're down below. You can guess that she is either running or being accosted. All right.
And on my way to my escape, I am going to actually go back to try and make it back to what's his face's apartment.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that in a bit.
That's where I'm heading. Since that just took a whole freaking hour.
Yeah. Wasn't
Sorry,
expecting
team.
it to take quite that long. Sorry, everybody. We're now gonna go over to where the rest of you are, which is in the car, on the way from the tin screw to try and find Sev's contact.
It was like one of the big armored ones, right? That we're sitting in.
Yes. Not like a huge SWAT car or anything, but big enough that you are not cramped inside.
Or like him and Vivian just like in the back, just sitting there while Elhan's driving up front, like a school bus.
It's probably big enough that if you want to sit in the front, you can, but you can also choose to sit in the back with Vivian.
Sev's just gonna sit wherever's the most comfortable.
Okay.
So, probably the back, I guess.
Yeah, you can probably turn a little sideways to get even more legroom.
Sev's like, yeah, this guy, he sells black market magical items. So, he might know something about magical leather?
This isn't exactly a black market item. This is medicinal, prescription.
It's medicinal.
Obviously, it's being used for the wrong purpose, but maybe we'll see. I'm not very confident, however.
Sev's like, it's not like you can just buy this over the counter or anything. You have to be prescribed this.
Yeah.
And so I imagine they have to get it through. People that want to use it for recreational use have to get it through not over-the-counter means.
That's fair. We'll see.
And he's like, Sev's just kind of sitting there. He's like, so you guys have a good day?
Wait, I'm confused. You're taking the detective to go see your friend who sells illegal things?
We're generally lenient with criminals that help us. It's very bad form as a police officer to shoot someone who's trying to help you.
Friend is also a broad term. I wouldn't really go with friend. More like associate.
So the criminals that help you are okay.
No, we're just lenient with them, and we generally are willing to either give them some leniency or work with them and work something out to catch the bigger fish.
See.
Yep.
I'm just trying to make sure I know how this all works.
So it's like he should be in. What area of town would Sev think that he's in?
Let me see if I can pull that up. I think we discussed that last game, but let me try and remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
They're on the east side of the city.
Sev, I'm sure told him to head towards east as we're driving.
Yes.
He's like, and then just find some scummy bar, and we might find Gator.
Go ahead and make perception checks for me. Or investigation.
Everyone?
If you'd prefer. Yeah, whoever would like to. The two of you who are not familiar with what Gator looks like, I will say you have disadvantage on this. You're more looking out for other things. Okay.
Cool. Well, I'm going to use my restore balance feature to just make myself flat.
All right.
So that way
Sounds
I don't
good.
have to. And that's an at 20. Thank you, little Miss Fodder, for the dice.
Doing great for you, doing not great for me.
I don't think Vivian's looking.
Okay. Kind of along for the ride currently. So as you're pulling up through the east side of town, just driving along the streets, kind of like looking for a place to park. You see Sev, a very recognizable figure to you, kind of stood near the entrance to an alleyway on the side of the road. To you, Elhan, as you notice this person as well, and immediately peg them as some kind of shady just by their posture. It looks like a kid, like a little dragonborn kid, wearing like a little baseball cap, has a little baseball bat, and is like tossing a ball up against like the side of the wall. Something about their posture and their habit seems a little bit weird to you. You're not exactly sure what it is.
So I was like, oh, stop here. Pull over here.
So as this police car pulls up, or, well, I guess we just discussed that it was more of like a more undercover one.
It's like an armored. Yeah.
Yeah, oh no, yeah, you would have switched out for a different car. So this one, it does actually have like SCPD up against the side of it. The little figure turns, sees the police car. You see their little green scaly face kind of, well, dragon don't really get pale, do they? You see a look of concern on their face before they quickly try and compose their face into like wide-eyed innocence.
Sev gets out pretty quickly and he waves at him.
So Gator, who is a little green, looks kind of like a young dragonborn, is actually a kobold. Like, oh, hey, Sev.
Hey, Gator. How's it going?
Am I about to get arrested?
No, I'm not with the police still. You know this. I'm just working with a police officer. Not about to be arrested. I actually just need some information about I mean, I don't know if this will be you, but I figured you're the best person to ask.
Mm-hmm.
How are you?
I am great. Could this possibly wait to a future time? I'm a little bit busy right now.
Nope, cannot wait.
Really not. As he said, this is Elhan. He's a detective. He's also not going to arrest you.
You could tell he's really, really uncomfortable right now. Like tapping his little kobold claws on his baseball bat in his hand. It's great to meet you.
Look, I just need some information. We just need some information, and then we'll be out of your hair. The quicker you can give us the information, the more likely I am to ignore what you're doing here.
Sev goes, I got this. And he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a rock with a rune on it and hands it to him, to Gator. And he goes, that will cast Scorching Ray. Can we get some information, Gator?
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Not sure we should be giving illegal magic artifacts to illegal magic artifact vendors.
Sev, it's okay. Okay? Just trust me on this. I trust Gator.
I don't trust Gator.
We go way back, like so far back in my whole memory. You can see he's kind of talking a little bit louder than usual. Sev. And because you two rolled extremely high on perception, you hear further back in the alleyway a muffled yelp and an impact. Impact and then yelp.
Do I want to know what's going on, Gator?
Elhan wants to know.
Or will I be angry if I do?
I don't know. It's not up to me for you to feel angry or upset.
Do I have to take that item back?
No. And he sticks it in his pocket. You gave it to me, it's mine.
Then what's going on back there?
A conversation?
Do conversations usually include beating somebody up?
Usually. Sometimes. Depends on the situation.
Could you make it happen less while we're here?
I'm not the one in the conversation. It's not up to me. I'm just standing here playing baseball.
Gator, you know if I go back there, I'm going to shoot him in the head if he's beating somebody up. So please, stop it.
I can't do anything about it. It's my boss.
Sev's gonna walk back there pulling out his gun.
Okay. All right. Elhan, Viv, do you follow?
Yep.
What do you think,
Vivian is
Vivian?
following behind Elhan.
Okay. Gator follows behind, like walking next to you, Vivian. It's just like, oh my, is your cop friend, is he really trigger happy? Because that could be a real problem right now.
I haven't known him very long. I'm kind of new to all of this. Does Sev usually shoot a lot of people in the head?
I've only seen it happen occasionally. Usually he's better at talking. Well, better at talking. He tries. We should go faster. He starts walking a little bit quicker.
Sev pulls out his second gun while they're walking, trying to walk quicker.
So as you walk up through this alleyway, you see there is 4 figures standing around a 5th person who is slumped against the side of the alley. The 4 people, you see 2 half-orcs and 2 goblins. One of the goblins is spinning in his hand a gold-tipped cane. The person slumped against the ground is a sort of younger man. You can tell he's an Azamar. His halo is visible. He's wearing a frumpled up business suit. Very nice, very high quality fabric. And he's got a welt coming up on the side of his face where he has been struck. And he's got one hand up. As you approach, the 4 standing figures turn. And you can tell they are unsure exactly what to do. There's moves towards like pockets, towards scabbards at the side, and the goblin with the cane kind of steps forward and is like, "Hey, this is a private conversation. I'd rather you not interrupt."
Private conversations generally don't happen in public streets.
This isn't a public street, it's an alley. Specifically, probably owned by the 2 business
Legally,
owners
it's a
to either side. I don't read the law books.
Well, I do, and I'm gonna flash my badge and be like, unless you really want some trouble, I would recommend that you leave this man alone and get out of here first.
I'm trying to get some of my own personal property that he took from me.
Well, then there's proper legal ways to go through that rather than beating them with a cane.
Those take so long. Trust me, this is faster. He was about to give it to me.
I mean, can you really get money from a dead guy?
I wasn't gonna kill him.
It looks like you're gonna kill him from here, from where I stand, and that's attempted murder and assault. Or battery would be more accurate, since assault is verbal.
The man on the ground stands up shakily. Excuse me, officer. It's okay. We're just having a friendly conversation, friendly chat, about some business discrepancies. It's all right.
Sev just goes, "Shut up and let us help you."
I assure you, I don't need your help.
I was a cop for 20 years, sir. Sit down.
Make an intimidation check.
Yeah. Oh, dang, that's really good. It's a 17.
Okay, he like
It's
backs up
19
against the
minus
side
2.
of the alley. It's okay. And he just kind of like stutters into silence.
Look, I don't want to interrupt this conversation any more than I have. I just would prefer that you don't have it while I'm here. You're welcome to continue this conversation at a later date. But right now, I need the guy you got playing lookout. He's not going to help me until either you've taken care of this or you've left. So if you could just have this conversation at a later time, I would appreciate it.
Okay. How long do you need him for?
5, 10, 15 minutes max.
All right, Tercio, looks like you get to wait for a quarter of an hour. And he turns back around, spinning his cane.
I'm gonna grab Seb and be like, come on, buddy, you should go. And I'm gonna whisper to him, it's like, these things generally turn out worse if we interrupt them. Trust me.
Seb's like, I'm gonna kill all of them. Whispering back at him.
I don't recommend that right now. I'd have to take you in for murder. Just let it go. Let it go. They're not gonna kill him. He's gonna be okay in the long run.
This is why nothing gets done. He shakes his arm off and walks away.
Nothing gets done because the whole police department's corrupt, but I'm trying to fix that, alright? You know, but you pick your battles. You pick your battles. This isn't a battle that we want to fight right now.
Gator kind of pulls on your sleeve, Vivian. They weren't gonna kill him. They gave him something for them to appraise, and he didn't give it back. And now he says he doesn't know where it is. They're just trying to figure out where it is. So if they kill him, then they won't get anything out of him. Plus, it would be really bad for our business relationships.
Right. That makes sense.
Hello, by the way, and he takes his little baseball cap, tips it to you. My name is Gator. Well, my friends call me Gator. I won't tell you my real name because it's not as cute. What's your name, miss?
Vivian.
That's a wonderful, beautiful name for a beautiful lady. Why are you hanging out with these two?
It's a little bit of a long story. The cop there shut down my business where I worked and also lived, so now I'm homeless and unemployed. He said if we solve the case, then, maybe it could open back up.
That seems like an unhealthy power dynamic in this relationship of yours.
I'm beginning to wonder how long it takes him to solve cases.
I don't know, I haven't met this guy before, but usually, just from personal experience, takes a long time. Probably weeks or months, depending on what kind of thing it is. Is it petty theft, or is it a little bit more, hefty?
I'm not entirely sure. I know about the drugs and the attempted arson, but it seems to be getting a little bit more complicated.
Ooh, arson. Sev, did you try to burn down a building?
Seb's gonna grab Gator by the collar and drag him back in the way that they came, and he goes, speaking of drugs.
You're tall enough that holding onto him, even with your hand down at your side, he is like lifted off of the ground and you're just carrying him along. He's like, oh, please don't, this is my last clean child's outfit. Please don't rip it, please.
He drops him in front of him, and then he pulls out one of the leather things. He goes, do you know what this is?
He reaches up, snatches it from you, looks it over, smells it. Yes, I suppose.
Do you know where it could come from, Gator?
A drug dealer? A pharmacy?
Do you know of either one that it might have ended up at the Silverleaf Lounge, Gator?
If someone wanted to do drugs at the Silverleaf, probably.
Gator, I'm really gonna need you to be helpful, because I'm like this close to breaking something.
I'm trying to be helpful. You know what I deal in. We don't deal in this kind of thing.
It's magical. I mean, I figured you'd know somebody that would know something about this.
It is magical, but so are cars, and I don't sell cars.
Get it. Come on. Come on. I just gave you a real nice item. You gotta know somebody I could talk to.
Well, I mean, this fella in the back here, he has a contact in the Goldwings that, you know, he was bringing this item to appraise, and apparently he's a bit of a scientist, if you know what I mean. So, maybe him? I don't know drug dealers. I'm not a user. It's a little bit harder to pretend to be a child when you've got, paraphernalia.
I get that, Gator. I get that. Okay. I will work with that. If that doesn't work, Gator, you do know I'll have to ask more questions and possibly take that nice item back. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Now, remember, if you want anything more to sell, let me know. That only has 3 uses, so don't you use it, okay?
But what if I want to?
Because don't you want to sell it? That's going to sell for a lot. Scorching Ray hurts a lot.
You know, for our do-gooder, you're really okay with flooding the streets with dangerous items.
I know.
Quite concerning.
I'm gonna go talk to that guy now, and he grabs Elhan as they walk away. And he leans and he goes, "It's message spell."
All right. So you turn back.
And so he's gonna go try to talk to that guy Gator pointed out.
Okay. So the group of 5 people has just been standing there. The Asmar guy still up against the side of the alley, kind of looking between the other 4. The goblin with the cane, though, has just been standing there watching you guys. And as you return, he's just...
Which one did he say?
All done?
Which one did he say that we should talk to?
He said that the Asmar guy...
Asmar?
Yeah, has a contact.
He looks at the goblin and goes, "Not quite. Give me a few more minutes."
Okay.
Good. He walks over and he grabs the Asmar man and walks a little bit further out of earshot.
The goblin and all the others are like, "Hang on a second, that's our guy. Don't take him away."
Sev pulls out a gun and just points it at them.
I'm gonna grab Sev's arm and be like, put that away. We just need him for a few minutes, and then you can have him back. And when he's done with us, I promise you he'll be a lot more talkative, alright?
The goblin kind of nods over at one of the half-orcs. Is it alright if Ted sits in? He's dumb. He won't remember anything, I promise. You just, make sure you don't make off with our guy.
We'll literally
Ted,
just have him right here.
So he has the 2 half-orcs go up further up the alley, and then he and the other goblin are on the other side. So you guys are standing there talking to the Asmar with the 2 Jade Fist members on either side.
Let's get this over.
What do you know about
quickly,
drugs?
Sev.
The Asmar, it's like trying to reset up his appearance. Drugs? Nothing.
It's not what
do you know about
Gator
this?
told us.
I've only seen it once or twice, in higher establishment parties and things, getting passed around in back rooms. Not something I've ever used myself, of course.
Of course.
I am an upstanding citizen. My girlfriend's a police officer. I very much love to uphold and sustain the law.
Who's your girlfriend? I might know her.
Her name is Delilah Banks.
You're Delilah's boyfriend.
Yeah, I don't think I've met her.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, my name is Tercio. It's really great to meet you.
Well, I happen to work very closely with Delilah. But if you know what Delilah does, then you know what I do.
Yes. Yes. So what are you doing talking to me? It's not the
Well,
kind of thing that Delilah's gotten up to, at least for a long time.
No, of
Seb
course
is
not.
very confused.
Well, see, Gator told us that you might have information regarding these things, this stuff, this medicine, and its illegal usage.
The lune
Who
femage.
could deal it?
Yes.
Yeah, that.
I don't, but I do know someone who probably might.
Fine. Who
Right.
is it?
Their name is Ethanel. And my one of my superiors over at the Gold Wings.
He pulls out his notepad and starts writing.
And
that
you can
down.
tell as he says the Gold Wings that he is a little bit like the tone of his voice changes a little bit. He says it a lot quieter, kind of hoping maybe you don't notice. Any of the three of you can roll history checks to see what you know about the Gold Wings.
It's gonna be a 15.
Only a 10.
8.
Yeah, so only Elhan is at all familiar with this group because it does sometimes come up in the sort of investigations that you've looked at before. They are technically a completely legit organization. What they deal in is the afterlife. Essentially, people make very large purchases of essentially the most tame warlock pact that you could ever have, where it's like, oh, I'll pay 10,000 gold as a towards the god of business or the god of like these very minor deities in exchange for their souls so that they can have a pleasant afterlife. It is often used by the very, very wealthy that sometimes are a little bit shady on the side and are a little bit worried about what might happen to them should they die. There are some times where you have found, Elhan, in your investigations, people making, in their records, large purchases from this company. It usually is a sign of underhanded business somewhere else.
Where can we find what you say his name was? Bethanel?
Ethanel?
I don't know.
Ethanel? Where can we find this Ethanel?
Probably at the office.
The Gold Wings office?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Thank you. Before we leave, just a little bit of friendly advice. If you want to keep dating Delilah, don't get involved with these type of people. I would recommend finishing whatever business you have with them and then being over with it.
Listen, officer, I promise you, I don't deal in these sorts of shady underworld things. This was, as explained to me, the inheritance of a deceased adventurer had been uncovered and their items had been dispersed to a member of their organization, and they wanted to come to me to find out how much it was worth. I took it home. I actually brought it to Ethanel, as they are more expert in the history of these things, being much older than I am, and determined its value. And then the next day I was not able to find it to bring back to these lovely people. I wasn't expecting this to turn as heated as it is.
I want to make an insight check to see if I believe him.
Okay, go ahead.
That's going to be a 22.
Yeah, he's telling the truth.
Okay. All right. That's fair. And you've told them that, right?
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it was after I had already told them how much the item was worth, and they are rather upset that they don't have it anymore.
Maybe we can try talking to them and get them off your back. Really,
Sev goes,
just
I don't think talking to them's gonna work.
Unless you have
Try.
40,000 gold, I don't know if it will work.
at least let's try first before we pull out guns and start shooting up the place.
Sev's gonna just unbuckle his holsters.
Sev, just
They're up. They're
Let me handle
unbuckled.
this.
They're not out.
let me handle it. I'm gonna go up to the goblin.
Okay.
I'm just gonna look and be like, that guy literally has no idea where the stuff you're looking for is. It's gone. He doesn't know. He only knows where it last was, and he's already told you that.
Maybe he's lying?
He's not
Maybe
lying.
he doesn't remember.
He's not lying. Look, I'm not a, look, I do this for a living. I find out whether people are lying or not. He's not lying. He really does not know where it is, and you beating him up isn't gonna make him want to help you find out where it went.
I usually find that actually really persuasive. But what do I know? I'm not a police officer.
Just leave him alone. He doesn't know where it is. If you don't, I'm gonna have to come back here. He's kind of a friend of a friend.
Fine.
Was that so hard? Now, get
Well,
out of
now
here
I'm gonna have
before-
to, explain to my superiors how 40,000 gold worth of merchandise is gone. Now it's gone missing.
That's your problem.
Sev walks up with another rock and goes, "This isn't 40,000, but this is Scorching Ray here. Might help lessen the blow. You can
Is
sell this
it
for-"
Scorching Ray or is it Message
No,
again?
it's just message again.
The goblin flips it over, looks at it. I am a little bit more familiar with magics, and I think maybe you're mistaken, mister.
What's wrong?
Well, your description of it being Scorching Ray is not so much accurate, I would say.
Is it not? He looks into his pocket and he's like, "Oh man,
Just get out of here.
He's
Let's
like,
all go our
"Can I-
separate ways.
can I have that one back?"
Eat
That
the
one
rock.
was for a date later.
The goblin hands the rock back to you.
I'm sorry, I packed the wrong ones.
Let's just all be on our way and act like nothing ever happened, alright?
Right?
Then
So
I'm gonna
Sev
get
walks
back
back
in the...
backwards and watches them. He pats Gator on the head as he walks by. Bye, Gator.
Oh, see you. Bye, mister. I hope you have a great day.
Here, here you go. And he flips him some candy that he has in his pocket.
Oh, boy. I hope this doesn't give me no cavities.
Sev just nods and gets in the car.
Okay.
I want to have a conversation with Sev real quick.
Mm-hmm. In the
He's like,
car?
I don't.
In
In
the
the
car while
earshot
we're
of
driving.
Vivian? Okay.
Yes.
All three of you together.
Alright, Sev. I can tell that you think that there's a lot wrong with this world, and you're right. There's a lot wrong with this, particularly this city. The city is very, very sick. But you want to know
Sev's like,
how?
I don't know what happened to that alley. I got really angry.
I noticed.
Know what anger. I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to deal with that. Sev's kind of looking at his own hands. He's like, that's the most I've ever felt. That's. Oh,
You were
boy.
You were rightfully angry. That kind of stuff
Ooh.
should never happen. But here's the thing. when you're dealing with a sickness, you don't deal with each individual symptom. You never cure the city that way. You've got to find the root. You've got to find the cause of the sickness. So if we have to stop and fight every single one of little squabble we come across, this partnership's not going to work. Because I'm not here to treat symptoms. I'm here to cure a sickness.
So it's like, usually the logical part of my brain would let me understand this, but right now I'm just thinking and feeling, and I've never felt this much. Strange. I am not 100% right now. I need to think. Sev's gonna lay and look out the side and just like really be contemplative.
Well, if you need to talk about it, you can talk to me about it. I get angry a lot too, but I'm.
Do you understand what it feels like to come from non-sentience to sentience and suddenly have emotions and feelings?
No, I don't. But I do understand what it comes to have lived on these streets and been, and seen the corruption that happens, and then come to, and be trying to fix it. It was scenes very much like that I saw every day of my childhood that made me decide to become a cop, even when I knew the cops weren't always the good guys.
So just goes
I understand your anger.
I'll end all those scenes as he looks down.
We will one day, but we won't end all those scenes by stopping at every one of those scenes we see. You end the scenes by finding out who's behind them and why those scenes are happening.
Sure, Elhan. I guess that works.
So we know our next place, but I think we need to stop in and check on Delilah and Vivian real quick. Not Vivian, Tina real quick. That sound like a plan?
Sev kind of just does a little thing. He goes, "Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. Sorry about that, Vivian, that you had to see all that nastiness. It's at least Gator's nice. He's not mean usually, especially after you give him a nice magical item.
Actually, are all criminals that accommodating? None of them were all that scary. In fact, I would say Sev was the scariest one there.
I agree.
That's what I was built for.
So
we're forged for a reason.
We're going around town trying to solve this case with a war forged with an anger problem?
I realized that before we stopped.
Like brand new. I have to think about some things. I don't know. Maybe I should stop drinking.
I don't know how that works for Warforged, but for others, that's usually a good idea. Have you tried counting back from 10?
I mean, I can count back from 10. That's not like a thing I'm incapable of doing. What do you mean try?
When you get angry. So you have to stop and count first.
I'm not sure you two quite understand. That's literally the first time I felt super anger in my existence.
In the future, should it happen again? And then if you are going to shoot someone in the head, could you warn me first? I don't want to see that.
I will try counting down from 10 when I'm angry, Vivian. I can try to do that. I will also tell you when I'm about to shoot somebody in the head, yes. The gun I was going to shoot him in the head was only going to knock him back, though, not necessarily kill him.
Not how guns work.
That's how my gun works.
Also, just in case, maybe I should tell you I could possibly put them to sleep instead.
That might be a smarter plan than execution.
You don't have to shoot people.
I prefer not shooting people.
It's what I was built for.
You were an analyst.
I was a analyst combat unit. Rolled into 1.
Well, let's go back to my apartment, check on Tina and Delilah, and then we'll go from there, alright?
All right.
All right. Yeah, I think we're going to continue with you guys just for a smidge longer before we go back to Jean. So you pull up at the front of the apartment complex, and there is a very nice black car with the hood up. It's kind of sat on the road, seemingly abandoned, at the front of the apartment.
Do you have a rich neighbor, Elhan? That's an incredibly nice car.
Nope, no rich neighbors here.
Huh. Should we be worried? Is what Sev says as he unbuckles his holster.
What I'm trying to figure out. I'd like to make a perception check to see what I notice.
All right, make a perception check.
That's going to be a 21.
Okay.
21.
Yeah, you see... Are you just looking at the car, or are you looking at the whole area?
That's fine. I want to look at the whole area and see what I can
Okay.
notice.
So yeah, just glancing around the car, it looks like you're not necessarily super familiar with how engines work, but there is a big chunk of parts sat next to the car. There's a lot of fluid everywhere. Just kind of looking around through the outside, you kind of check down the side of the building where those side back doors are, and you see that yours is open.
I'm gonna go inside my apartment as quick as I can then.
The front door
Seb's
is
gonna
open as
follow.
well.
And be like, Vivian, we should probably move. As he opens up the door.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
and-
gonna...
You enter and find your apartment unlocked, open, empty.
Okay, I'm gonna start looking around and seeing what I can find.
All right. Anyone who
Seb-
wishes to
Seb's
can make an
gonna help him
investigation
investigate.
check.
It's gonna be an 18.
Only a 12. I don't know his apartment super well.
10.
Okay. Looking through, it's really eerie. There's no signs of forced entry. There's no signs of struggle. You do find a business card tucked in a glass. But yeah, looking through the rooms, Tina's stuff is still there. Delilah's stuff is still there. What
finds
did you
the
write on the
business
back of the card, Jean?
My number.
Okay. That's all.
But
Sev
who's
Sev
the one
just
who
yells
found
from
it?
another room.
That would be you, Elhan.
Alright. I'm going to want to call the number on this card.
Okay. And
Sev's just gonna
now,
yell, you find anything, Elhan?
Hold on just a second, Ian. Let him finish.
yeah. Now we're gonna go over to Jean. Jean, after you escape from the inferno on the highway, where do you go?
Where is the nearest kind of safe house stashy area?
Roll a d10.
4.
There's one probably about 4 blocks away. Not a super nice or clean one. You're actually not incredibly far from your own apartment.
Oh, well, then I am going to make a stealth check to try and, avoid the prying eyes of, the fact that there's a couple bullet gashes.
Mm-hmm.
To get back to my apartment.
Spatters of Eladrin brain.
Yeah. That's going to be 14 plus 7 is 21.
Okay. So you're able to not necessarily like walk the streets completely unseen, but in such a way that you're not drawing attention from people. You are pretty easily able to make it up to your apartment building.
Okay.
As you enter your apartment, however, though the door was locked, as you enter and into front room, on the hardwood floor, there are drops of blood in a trail leading further back into your apartment. You hear the sound of your shower, which is on. It's running.
I'm going to walk in, and I'm going to reach underneath my my front table, and underneath I keep a shotgun. And
Okay.
I'm going to pull that out.
All right. Make a perception check.
It's a 21.
Okay. You move further back. The blood is not extremely plentiful. You walk further into the apartment. The bathroom door is open. You're able to peek your head and immediately see there's no one in there, but there is a decent amount of blood on the floor. The medicine cabinet above the sink is open. There's a wad of some sort of material in the shower. The water is running. It is steamy and humid all through your apartment. You hear over in your room, there is the sound of the radio on. And you can hear humming.
Edie?
The radio immediately, it doesn't turn off, but the volume is quickly lowered. And a little head pokes out of the door. She's wearing one of your suits. And her hair is an absolute mess. I don't think we established this last game. She's a high elf like you. Hey.
I mean, you look rather dashing, but that's not quite a good fit for you. Also, you're lucky that I didn't blow you to pieces.
I like to see you try. It'd probably ruin your wallpaper. I don't know if you could stomach it.
What? What's that?
What?
What is the mess? Why did you leave a mess?
I had a run-in with I went to Belby's apartment and stuff happened, okay?
Looks like you and I have stories to share.
Oh, you've going too? Okay.
Yes.
You first.
I'm in charge now. I'm in charge now.
You've always been in charge. I don't see why you have to say that again.
I'm in charge.
Mm-hmm.
You see, our noble leader suffered an unfortunate accident with a crazed ASMR, and her brains are currently all over the highway.
Ooh. Okay. I see what you mean.
So, I'm in charge.
Says who?
This is just how it works. What does it matter to you? That just means that there's more people for you to run around and stab.
Well, because I know someone else got in for the position, if you know what I mean. Not me. No, that's not what I meant.
Who's gunning for the position? And why?
Belby?
You better not have left him alive.
It was a little bit hard. I walked in and there were 10 people in there. She like pulls the jacket aside, and you can see she's got on one of your shirts as well, and there's a little bit of blood soaking through on the side of her abdomen. I had to go. Because, you know, I'm good, but I'm not 10 on 1 good.
Oh, it was him.
Yeah. He was gonna get you, and then he was gonna move on to Ayana.
Well, sounds like we're gonna have ourselves a little bit of a gang war. Alright, well, we're going to need to go make some calls. You better not have used all of my healing potions.
No, it's just one.
Okay. I'm sorry you got hurt.
You look like you got hurt too.
I mean, I was in a car accident and got shot at.
Mm-hmm. Ayana didn't go quietly, huh?
No.
So
But
what's the
she's
plan?
gone. We're gonna call in every favor that we owe. And I'm expecting a call from a little white knight at any point. And I'm guessing...
Is this that white knight you told us about this morning? Why is he
Yep.
gonna call you?
Because Ayana and I kidnapped his friend.
Well, where's
But
the
then I
friend?
saved her. With the other insane ASMR who caused the car accident.
That doesn't sound like you saved her.
I mean, the insane ASMR was there when I showed up, so I'm guessing that White Knight and Psychopath are friends, lovers, strange bedfellows. So I at least left her in hands that are associated with him. Besides, I just took out someone who's probably more sadistic than you are.
Yeah, probably. Ayana did tell me when we first met that we were pretty similar.
Well, here's your new instructions. I need you to find the Seder brothers, and I need you to call in every single favor and that all of you have. We need to secure as many of the safe houses and armories and businesses that we have before Belby can get his hands on it. There's one thing
Nikki.
that
Can I call you Nikki? I found on your stationery that your first name is Nicholas. Can I call you Nikki?
If you want a shotgun to the face, you can call me Gene, like everyone else does.
Well, okay, fine. You are no fun. Anyway, you're expecting that I have a lot of favors. You've been my boss for the last couple years. I don't have a ton of favors. I haven't been working with a ton of other people. I can't necessarily speak for the brothers, but they're not so, connected or smart.
There's nobody who, where their families are staying or hiding. Nobody that some blackmail and dirt on.
Not anyone in the family, no. I have a lot of ex-boyfriends I could probably pull up, but that's about it.
You don't have any dirty cops that you can threaten?
Well, that starts to overlap into the ex-boyfriend territory, so I guess so.
Guess I'll have to figure this
Why are
out
you
myself.
looking at me
then.
like that?
You're supposed to be cultivating relationships as we go, not just killing everything.
What makes you think I am, the most connected career woman? I'm just along for the ride.
All right. I will.
At this point, the phone in the hall rings.
Clean up your mess. I'm gonna go.
She sticks
answer
her
the
tongue
phone.
out at you as you walk away. All right.
This is Jean.
Oh, and that's the voice you hear as the phone is answered.
Gene, huh? Well, you better start talking fast because you were clearly in my apartment earlier. I think you know what happened here. I would like some answers.
All right, I'll give you some. You and me. Midnight. Under. You know that bridge on the south side?
I think I know what bridge you're talking about.
You get to bring one friend.
Can I
And I'll bring.
two?
As long as they're not psychopaths, like whatever. Hey,
I can
Mark,
only make a
person
promise
you
for
left.
one of them.
No guns. Except for
You
you,
know I
I
can't
know
do
you
that.
have a cop thing. But if they don't have a real badge, no guns. Then I'll
Alright.
fill you in. But I'm gonna need your help. You want to save this city? And you want to prevent a lot of bloodshed and death?
I do.
You see, there's now a power vacuum in one of the most powerful families in this part of Shade City. And I am in the running to take charge. You've met me. You know that I'm civilized and refined, and
You might
I
have to
have-
refresh my memory a bit.
I have standards about killing and death, but my competition, not so much. You see, well, I'll fill you in. One of the top lieutenants of the Regalier here is currently lying dead on one of the highways, along with her bodyguard. The only people who know who killed her are your friends that were in your apartment.
And where are they?
My guess, in custody. You see, I killed... Well, why am I telling you this? You're gonna be meeting me at midnight anyway. Now, Mr. Knight in Shining Armor. Any funny business. And I'm gone. But if you're on my side, then I'll help you try and bring some peace to these streets. I've got names, connections. But in return, I'm going to need you to bring your friends and your connections. Because you don't want a war between the two of us.
I think we can come to an arrangement for now.
Very well. Just know, if my life ends up in danger at any point from any of your friends, the deal's off. And I will rain hell down on you like you have never experienced. And trust me, I can do that within the precinct and without.
Just let you know the threat's mutual.
Sure. You and what army? Everybody in my pocket.
You'd be
I'll see
surprised
you.
who I've got.
I'll see you at midnight, detective.
Midnight. I'm hang up the phone.
All right. I think that's where we're going to take our break tonight. Quick 5 minutes. We'll be back. Yeah. See you in a little bit. All right. We're back. So, as the phone call between Jean and Elhan happened, probably like 1 p.m. We got 11 hours between now and that midnight meeting. So, what would you like to do during this time?
Long rest.
Okay. Which, for you being an elf, is only 4 hours.
And then I don't need to like roleplay these calls or conversations, but I'm gonna, people that I like climbed up the ranks with, people who are in, sections closest to mine that I actually had business dealings with. Pretty much anybody that I can call and establish, where are they at? Are they with Belby or are they with me? And then try and arrange for like moving of, anybody that I can get on my side to start moving things out of supply houses into things closer to where we generally operate out of, and kind of like, and a little bit more of like a humanitarian effort, kind of, having our dealers start warning people, hey, stay off the streets at night. There's going to be problems. Like, if you need to get something, come earlier in the day on your lunch break or something.
Can you roll a charisma plus proficiency? Because I imagine some of these calls are going to be intimidation based. Some of them are going to be deception or persuasion. This is what you do.
That's 19.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. So you're able to call a number of people. You do find that a decent number of them, around half of them, seem a little bit hesitant to immediately jump on board. And a couple of them do kind of mention the fact that Belby is actual literal family of the Dom. That he is, like the brother of the cousin, whatever. Like, there's some familial actual connection there beyond being in the family. And there are some people that are hesitant to go against that, and you can tell they have already been contacted by Belby. There is like a competing information campaign. You are able to get, like I said, about half of the people to kind of be like, yeah, I mean, you're way better at this than Belby ever was, who I barely even know the guy. He's just some piddly little dude, And some progress is made. When you start reaching out to suppliers and different things, you do find a little bit of interesting information as you are called by Alita. I called her Agatha last game. Her actual name in my notes is Alita. She is the primary chemist of a lot of the substances that get traded around by our organization. She is a wonderful, amazing hag, because hags are the best fae. She is surprisingly okay with this transfer of power. She hates Belby. She finds him very annoying. But she's very much okay with it being you instead of him. And she has seen a decent amount of these sorts of transfers happen, as she has been with the Regalia for a very long time. And she tells you that she has been digging through the inventory and the merchandise all today. And she has found the source of the issue, being specifically the lune fermage, also known as the leash. She fills you in on what that is, as typically a medication for lycanthropes. She has perfected it so that it does not give you as much of the jitters as the typical stuff from the pharmacy would give. She has found that there is something wrong with one of the ingredients that is used in the process of writing the runes on the leather, in the ink itself. And that the entire crop of this herb called enten leaf, like within the plants themselves, there is something wrong. She hasn't pinned down exactly what it is, as the enten leaf is cultivated within the casino, the main casino. It's not in like a plantation anywhere. It's not in some sort of supply area. It is grown in the casino because the casino is halfway in and halfway out of the Feywild, and Entenleaf can only grow in the Feywild. So she has a little bit of trouble just going there in the middle of business hours to look it over. So she hasn't been able to find a ton about it. But you learn that as well.
Do we have any old stuff that's not tainted?
I mean, I could probably find something, but I don't want to, I'm the only one with the kind of eye for this sort of thing. I don't want to be sitting here looking at different pieces of leather all day, so I'll just say, don't let people have it.
Hey, what do you propose I do instead, then?
Don't let people have it. We have other things.
Are you going to be funding my war?
What? What kind of funding do you need? How long is it gonna take you to take down this little pipsqueak?
Well, if this little pipsqueak is connected to the Dom, I might have to go all the way to the top. Hopefully not. Hopefully the Dom can see that his little brat is obnoxious and can't handle the business and doesn't have a special place in his heart for him, but we don't know that. And don't you take that as treason?
I couldn't care less.
Alright, I will contact my distributors and we'll see if we can... Maybe we're gonna start knocking over some pharmacies over in Belby's turf. Pin it on him. We can sell the stuff. But nobody's supposed to get hurt. Regalia used to have honor up until Ayana showed up. We only did what needed to be done.
Sure, that's adorable. If you're gonna go knocking over pharmacies, it's not gonna be bloodless, just, just
Aware.
saying.
But we don't have to shoot them down in the streets like we did that one cop.
I'm just saying, the people who are into the leash are, the rich kids, the high society ones. They're not, the hard criminals. They're the ones who, while they don't like to hear no, you just turn them somewhere else and they're content, just, oh, look, this is really great too. We'll make sure you have the highest quality, Mr. and Mrs. whatever the heck, they'll deal.
It's actually a great idea. We're gonna start hitting rich people, and we're gonna pin it on Belby.
Okay.
Then we'll have their private... Aluda, you're a genius. When I'm in charge, you're getting a raise.
Great. Don't expect me to go hitting up rich people for whatever. That's not what I do. Okay?
You're way too smart for that, don't worry.
That's,
well, I appreciate it.
I am a chemist.
I'm certain that the Dom would appreciate if you figured out what was going on with this.
I'm sure that I would also appreciate finding out who has messed with my work.
I'll run it up the chain.
Great, thank you.
By the way, can you send me a list of the names that I have in the... Was it the 12th? Is that this precinct?
I don't know much about... I worked with the chemicals, I didn't work with the people. Ayana was one of the only people who ever talked to me. People don't like me.
She told me that you took a trip not too very long ago.
Yeah, I don't know who those police officers are. I just know that everyone was really nice and they just kind of walked out of the way. I don't know how many of them knew what was going on. How many of them were just told to close their eyes and walk away.
But you're the chemist. Everybody likes you. You make everybody money. I'm certain you can find out.
I don't have the time for that. I'm trying to make sure that our reputation in these higher groups where the money is doesn't get ruined because something that we give people is turning them into gooey corpses.
It's like you said, we have other stuff.
Yeah, it's stuff that also takes my time, so I would
You're not-
appreciate it if you put this sort of jackbooted thuggery to someone who is a jackbooted thug.
It's not jackbooted thuggery. It's asking the jackbooted thugs who come and pick things up from you and just finding it out. You're not the only person we have making these things, so I'm certain that you'd make some time to find me my answers.
Fine, I'll ask some people. Is that enough for you? I'm busy. I gotta go do things.
Yes, especially that captain. I need to know if I'll have the whole precinct because of his orders, if I have to pick and choose.
Okay. I'll see what I can do.
And I'll try and get you some time to get into the Feywilds and take a look at your plants again.
Thank you, boss.
She hangs up.
Is Edie still here?
Yeah.
Edie!
She's like in the kitchen snacking on just random little things.
Whatever you're snacking on, bring me snacks too. And then I'm gonna go back to just like calling people.
Is there anything else that you want to do? Anything specific?
I'm going to. Well, I will. I do want to try and run up the chain, but I want to make certain everyone else has time to do their things as well. So.
All right, then we'll get back to you on that. All right. You of the three all together, you actual party members of people. What do you want to do this afternoon and early evening? Let's start. Vivian, do you know what you want to do?
She wants to talk to Detective Anderson.
Okay.
Detective Anderson? Where is Tina?
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because I was going to say that what I'm going to be trying to do is calling everyone I know to find out where the heck Delilah and Tina ended up.
Okay. Calling in pretty quickly, I'd say within a half hour, you are actually able to determine the location of Tina at least. Delilah ran off and has not been seen, has not been located. It's actually, as you're reaching out to find out things, people don't know that it's her. Like, there was some sort of like flaming crazy figure that dashed off, disappeared. They have no idea who they are. Tina immediately went to the cops who showed up on the scene and was like, please save my life. So she is over at precinct 10, actually. Different precinct altogether. It is a small, piddly one, more like kind of next door to the HQ. It's for small... It's because in HQ they didn't have a place that they felt they could keep her.
Gotcha. So it's more of a... Hopefully it's more of a straight-laced precinct than... At least more so than 12? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to tell Vivian where she's located.
They kept her in the motor pool.
So I'll be like, well, your Tina is fine. She's with the cops over at Precinct 10. They can be trusted. So she's okay for now. Gotta look out, find whoever leaked my address, because they weren't supposed to have my address. But
So, what do we do now?
well, we've got some time to kill until we go meet with this Gene fellow. And if assuming you still want to help get your case resolved as quickly as possible, you are welcome to come with me. There are a few guidelines, however. According to this guy, I'm the only one who's allowed to bring guns, because I have a badge.
Seth looks unhappy.
fine with that. She takes her derringer out of her little purse she's been carrying around and just puts it on like a bookshelf or something. I don't really need that anyway.
You didn't even know you had that.
A lady
Like
never
she-
tells.
And I'm
Seb's
gonna
alarmed.
look at Seb and be like, is it going to be a problem if you just have to keep your guns here for a little bit? I can't even have to necessarily just keep them here. Like, we can keep them in the car.
I'm gonna go back to my office and leave them there.
I mean, you don't want them
Not
to
a
be
big-
nearby in case you need them?
He holds up his hands, which are covered in different runes. He's like, I don't necessarily need guns.
Right then. That's fine.
He's like, this is not a big deal for me. I would rather have them because I like backup plans, but
Well, I don't particularly use guns myself either. I pull out my pocket watch. It's like I've got other ways I prefer to fight, but yeah. So if you need a gun, you can use mine.
works for me.
But
He's
other
like-
than that, no, go ahead.
He's gonna go. I need to make a call, actually.
Okay.
I need
You're
to see
welcome
if
use the
someone's
phone.
available tonight. Yes, please. As he
No,
pulls
it's
out a
so
little
long.
note.
It's only supposed to be the two of us there. I mean, the three of us there. So, but yeah.
Oh, it's. I just need to see if someone's available for dinner.
Okay.
As he pulls out the note, and he calls up Ava.
He's making a date?
I feel like he's canceling a date.
Emotions are a new thing for him. So yeah.
So
I plan
yeah,
on
he's just-
sleeping for a long time.
Okay. Also taking a long rest.
Yes.
What about you, Vivian?
She's just been tagging along. She hasn't really done that much, so she's gonna look at the books on his shelf, pull one out, sit on the couch, read a book.
What kind of books are on Detective Anderson's shelf?
Classics. Whatever the classics of Shade City in this world would be. Classics.
Le Mimicab. A Tale of Two Floating Cities. Pride and Planetars. All right.
She's to read that one.
Okay. Oh boy, it's a great book. It's probably more similar to Pride and Prejudice and Zombies than the original Pride and Prejudice because there's a lot more sword fighting and zombies involved, fighting fiends and undead. All right, Sev. So you call up Ava.
yeah, he's gonna make that call in the, I guess wherever the phone is, in
Okay.
Elhan's apartment.
Imagine there's maybe like an office, possibly.
I mean, I was just imagining he was in the kitchen.
Okay.
That's
in
what I
the
was
kitchen.
thinking. Yeah.
All right. Hello.
Sev's like twirling the thing around his fingers. Hey, Ava, this is Sev.
Hi, Sev.
Hey, I have some time to kill. How free are you for the next 11 hours?
Well, I do have to work tonight, but I don't start until 6.
So would like a 5 dinner work? Maybe 4? We could
Sev,
even do
I
lunch.
don't
Lunch would be
don't
good.
eat. I don't have a mouth like you do. Remember, she just has
Right,
like
I forgot.
a couple little holes for her mouth.
Huh, do you want to meet at my office? You said you wanted to see it, right?
Yeah. Okay. At 5?
That would, yeah. 5, yeah. It's not too far from the bar, so you can just, I'll get you over to the bar after that.
Okay.
Okay, I'll see you at 5.
All right. Is there anything you
Okay.
want to do in those next few hours before that?
He's going to immediately go to Vivian and go, Vivian, can you help me buy clothes so I look nice?
Yes?
You dress really well, and I want to dress really well too.
It might be a little difficult to find clothing in your size, but I hear we have some time to kill.
Yeah, a little bit. We have about 4 hours before I have to meet up with my friend. And she wants to see my office. I should probably go clean up my office. There's beans on the table.
Yes, you should clean it then? Are they in
Okay.
a bowl or just spread out?
It's just the can. It's just the can. It's not opened yet. But yeah, if we could find like a store like it's maybe there's a Warforged clothing store. I don't really need to buy a lot of clothes. I just have the one pair.
I'm probably gonna regret asking this, but what do you wear when you're washing that one pair?
I don't really need to wash it. I'm a robot. I don't really like dirty up my clothes.
Oh, but not all the dirt on clothes comes from body oils, my friend.
Oh. Well, I mean, usually I just put a hose over myself and the clothes.
If you promise to stay calm, I believe I should take you shopping for more clothes.
I will stay calm. I'm sorry if I scared you earlier, by the way. I didn't know what was going on. I don't know what's going on.
It's okay. It was only a little scary. That guy Gator
I'll-
was kind of cute though.
Gator's a nice guy for being an actual criminal.
That was surprising. All the criminals there were surprisingly nice. Yes.
You would be surprised at how nice criminals are when it comes to dealing with their hierarchy. Minus beating the crap out of people. They're actually genuinely sometimes just honorable people.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, play that to your advantage. That's what we had to do sometimes. Before shooting them.
Right, so shopping. You wanted to go shopping?
Yes. Yes, I would like to get a pair of clothes that isn't a black trench coat, a white shirt, and pants.
All right. Make investigation checks.
I kind of hope I rolled low here.
12.
Okay.
12 also.
All right. So it takes a little while. Looking for clothing of your size. It is possible, as there are taller humanoids in this area, like orcs, Goliaths that are tall. Most of them are also very like burly. So you need to find a place that has, you know, a tailor as well, which most of them do. What are you looking for specifically?
So I was just looking for like different suits.
Okay.
And
Any
I mean,
colors?
I'm gonna guess he's tried on some weird colors because he doesn't know what a good looking suit looks like. He's got like a bright blue one on right now, I'm gonna guess. What do you think, Vivian? Think
What
this
are
is
we
good?
what are we going for here, Sev?
I don't know how to describe an attractive robot, but that.
I don't know what your friend's tastes are, but as far as mine go, bright blue suits are out.
Okay, got it. He's gonna go back and just like put on like a yellow one now and walk out.
The yellow one that's in the back and has been for 5 years because nobody wants it.
It's bright yellow. He's
Like
"There
those
was a big
joke
ol'
ones
hat
that
back there,
people
too."
rent out for prom.
Yeah.
Oh, honey, no. She goes to the person in charge of the store. You quit trying to sell him all the suits that you can't get off your hands, and you give him something that is in style and in fashion for this season.
It's this really like fabulous half-orc gentleman who's like, all right, I'll get him something better, okay? Very Tim Gunn-esque, this half-orc wonderful gentleman. And starts pulling out stuff from the more expensive racks up closer to the front. Much
Steph points to
classier,
the
much
gray one.
nicer. More, they are a lot more like darker tones. Very, very dark mud browns with like leather in like surrounding the buttons, different things like that. I don't know anything about men's fashion. Don't.
Well, we
You
don't
know,
either,
guys,
so.
No, I'm wearing a polo shirt.
You
Sounds
can't
like-
go wrong with like a navy blue with like a red tie.
What complements a silver
brown
skin tone?
shoes. I don't know colors.
Navy works. Vivian's like, now see, if you want blue, navy. Navy looks sharp on you, Sev.
Navy. All right, let me try this on. And he's gonna grab a navy with like a red tie and a white undershirt, and a matching like navy hat to match. He's gonna try
That's
that
a little
on, bring it
reminiscent
out.
of like a politician or something, a little bit, but decent.
What do you think, Vivian?
Much better.
Really? How much is this one? As he turns to the half-orc gentleman.
That one 18 gold ties another 3.
Sev, like, he doesn't have lips, but he's basically doing the.
So it's just like,
Yeah. He's like, for Ava, I'll do it. As he reaches into his actual coat pocket and pulls out, 25 gold. He's like, I imagine the hat's separate too.
I could also tailor it a little bit so that it works more.
Can you do that in, he checks his watch, a couple of hours?
Yes. Of course.
Thank you. I have a date, my first date ever.
He gives a little sly look to Vivian. Good luck then. He takes the suit from you. It goes back. It doesn't take very long. He's very good at this. Probably aided a little bit by magic as well. Takes 15-20 minutes.
And so, yeah, I guess he's gonna get it back and he's like, thanks, Vivian. This was a huge help. I would have no idea. I would have bought the yellow one had I been here alone.
I'm glad you brought me with you, Sev.
So,
Don't
what
ever
time
buy
would
a
it be?
yellow suit, promise me.
I promise I will never buy a yellow suit. But what if it's a really good sale?
No, you promised me. You can never buy one now.
God, I'll never buy one, Vivian. I'm sorry.
Unless this Ava likes it. I hope she does.
I'll ask her. She has really good taste. She's an actress. She's really cool. She's
Oh, really?
really pretty. She doesn't have a mouth, which is a really cool aspect for a Warforged to have.
Where are you going on your date?
Just to my office. She doesn't have a lot of time, and we can't eat. I mean, I can technically. I just do it to feel living. But she doesn't have a mouth, as I said, so she can't eat. So she wanted to see my detective agency, and so I was taking her there.
Oh, and you said it needs cleaned. Let's go there next.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you, Vivian. And he's gonna hail a cab.
Right. Hop in the cab, drive over. It's not extremely messy. It's dusty more than anything else. Not there's a ton of things in there.
Yeah. And then just a single can of beans in the middle of the table.
No spoon, no fork, not even a can opener, just a can of beans.
He's gonna be like, I don't know if you've ever been here, Vivian, but this is my office.
I have never been here, Seth. I was expecting it to be much more cluttered. This isn't bad, and she wipes her finger along the table, but you need to dust more often, dear.
I don't breathe in or breathe out, so generally those things don't pass my mind. Tano sometimes mentions that it should be a little bit cleaner is what she says, but I don't necessarily know how to clean. Again, I'm a cop.
Do you have a rag?
He's gonna go, like, pick up the blanket that he just bought and hand it. This is the closest thing I have.
You know this is gonna get the blanket dirty.
I'll go wash it off with the hose later.
There's a laundromat down the street and around the corner. I noticed it.
That costs money, though. When you don't charge people for some cases, sometimes you don't get to have electricity.
This is your job, and sometimes you do it for free.
Well, if people are really, like, scared or hurt, and they look, like, very afraid and they really want help, or their son or daughter's missing and they're, like, crying, I sometimes just have to help them rather than charge them. Sometimes if they can't afford it, I'll do it just because they need to be happy again.
Oh dear, it's good to have sympathy, but you never do your job for free.
Even if they can't afford it and they're whoever they're worried about is gonna die, if I just stand there and do nothing, aren't I as bad as the people doing it?
That's what the cops in the city are for.
They don't do anything, as you and I have seen.
Detective Anderson is running around doing lots of things.
Detective Anderson's a new cop. I think he's different, but I think if he were around longer, back in my day, he wouldn't be as keen to do things. I like him a lot. But I'm not sure he's seen some of the things I've seen.
Let me tell you one thing though, Sev. If you can't pay your bills, it makes it hard to help other people. Before you can help others, you have to get your own feet on solid ground. Quit doing your job for free.
I will try to do it less. I should be able to make rent and electricity this month. Not water, but I'm not worried about water. I don't use a lot of it. Just the hose. I can go get a rag 1 second, and he's gonna leave and just find a restaurant and leave Vivian in the office.
Go snag a napkin off a table.
He's gonna go ask if they have some old rag in the back.
Okay, yeah, you're able to get some old rags.
Bring it back. Here you go. It's a little wet still.
Oh no. You see, if you hand a man a fish, he eats for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he eats for the rest of his life. Sev, I'm going to show you how to dust, and then you'll know how to dust for the rest of your life. And she shows it just a little bit and then hands it back the rag.
Sev's going to do it, but just
stands out
not
of the
as
way.
well.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing where it looks cleaner to you than it actually is. Like you don't have a real good concept of like what clean really means. You miss a lot of places. But
Sev thinks it looks great.
You get in there, Sev. You missed a spot over there.
Oh, okay. And he drops it on the floor and uses his foot to do it. I'm gonna go change into the suit 1 second, and he opens up his closet, closes it, and starts getting changed in this tiny closet.
Superman in a phone box.
You hear him stumble and hit the door a few times.
I could go out in the hall.
There's no hall.
Yeah, it's just like the
it just
front
leads to the
door
street.
goes right into the.
I could stand out on the stoop, the street, the porch for a little bit.
No, this is my bedroom. It's fine. He yells through the door. He opens it up and walks out, and he's wearing the suit, but it's slightly off, and he's fixing it.
All right,
There
come
we go.
here. No, come
All
here.
right.
Come here.
All right. He walks up like
Bend
he's a
down.
sad puppy.
You're
All
so
right.
tall. She reaches up,
He's,
starts straightening
fully
your
bending
tie
forward.
and fixing the collar and straightens everything around. Okay, better.
All right, awesome, thank you. What time is it? As he looks at his watch.
It's like 4:50.
Okay. Sev is panicked. He like sits down in his chair, but gets back up, and he sits back down again, and he gets back up again. He's like, I don't.
When was your date? You didn't tell me
5.
exactly.
5 in 10 minutes.
Well, you don't have time to take me back to Elhan's now. I'll just go. It'll probably be fine.
Here's fare for a cab, and he hands her 1 gold.
It's plenty.
Good luck, Sev.
All right, thank you,
She walks
Vivian,
out
for
the hill.
everything.
All right. Do you head back to Alhan's apartment?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You are not waylaid on your return journey. Because there's someone else. There's the criminal underground is a little distracted at the moment. All right. So, Sav, you spend an anxious 10 minutes trying to figure out what you're doing.
He has sat and gotten up from the chair at least 40 times in the 5 to 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. After a little while, there's a quiet knock on the front door.
He like wipes off his pants even though there's nothing there, and then goes and opens it. Hi, Ava. How are you? He says as he opens up the door and looks at her.
She's in a very plain black dress with just like white piping around the collar, around the hem at the base. I'm good. How are you?
That's good. I'm good. Come on in. He says he gestures in and he steps back.
He kind of scooches past you. I like your suit.
Thanks. You look pretty in that dress. I just
Thank
bought
you.
this suit too.
Yeah, I could tell it's got the creases of the freshly ironed.
Yeah, I wanted to look nice in general.
It's good to look nice. It is.
Thanks. I wanted to look nice specifically for you though, is what I'm trying to say, but I don't know how to say it.
Well, you did a good job.
Thanks. I guess we should probably talk about what you wanted to talk about first.
Oh,
So that
Yeah.
I imagine it's not a fun thing if you're talking to a detective.
well, it's not an unfun thing, and it's not because you're a detective. It's because you know how to work with metal and things.
Oh, okay. I read the situation completely differently. Yeah. What's going on?
I mean, we don't have to talk about this right now. We could go and, I don't know, you can show me around.
Yeah, let's do that. As he takes a step forward, this is my office.
Okay, yeah. It's
There's
nice.
just, the drawers with the papers about my work, and then in the drawers there's also other things I tinker with. He goes, and then I'll show you the rest of it. As he walks over to his closet door.
Okay.
And this is my bedroom. As he opens it up.
Oh, okay. Very utilitarian. You don't waste any space.
Nope. I mean, all I have to do is stand for 6 hours a day.
That's true.
You know how it is. We Warforged.
I do. Yeah. I do
Yeah, I
have
do
at
wonder
my
what
place there is a living room.
Oh,
And technically
living
there
room.
is a bedroom. There is not much in it. I do have, books and things and
Oh, books are nice. I read I read like fun books, like sometimes crime books to see how close I am to it, and sometimes I try to emulate that. I tried like doing a voiceover once. No one liked it.
oh, I'm sorry. It's
It's
a
fine.
bit tough, People are still adjusting to us.
Yeah,
I guess
people
that
don't.
is part of what I wanted to talk to you about, actually, because I am running into a problem with auditions and things because, I've learned how to emote with my voice, kind of, and she starts like posing and posturing a little bit. She's very good at portraying feelings and things with her poses, kind of like how mimes are really good at silently portraying emotions and movements and things. But I mean, part of the issue is, especially now that there's so many serious films being made and things, there's a lot more close shots of the face, and it's a lot harder to read what I've been told. Sev, can you make me a face?
Oh, I could. I think it would lose a lot of you being you, though, if we did that. I know. He's kind of stammering, and he just sits down. At his
She sits
desk.
down in the chair, the other chair.
I could. I don't know if I'm the best person to ask.
There's no one else
I
to
just don't-
ask except for the people who make Warforged, and I
They don't
really
like
want to go
talking to
and
us.
No, they're not the nicest.
I understand why you want a face. I think it would be so much more amazing if you did it with the way that you were, if you got big with the way that you were made.
Wouldn't it also be kind of nice to be my own person? Right now I'm just I look like what I was made to be. Someone who just walks around and asks people what they want. A servant instead of a citizen, you know?
Sev is very stressed out. What would you want your face to look like?
I don't know. I think mostly what I need is eyebrows.
Eyebrows? I would have figured eyes or a mouth, eyelashes maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But most of the expression really comes from the eyebrows, you know?
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. I haven't watched a lot of films.
I mean, I guess having a real mouth would be okay too. Then I could actually eat and drink things too. It is a bit odd to be a bartender and not actually know what anything is. At least how it tastes or anything.
Well, yeah. It would take some time.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some time. What?
It doesn't have to be
So-
right
so-
now. I have to go to work in 45 minutes.
I couldn't make it in 45 minutes. No, I have a thing at midnight anyways. I don't know if I mean, I could start and stop. But
No, I was
yeah.
mostly, I just wanted to know if that was something that you could do and you were willing to do.
for you,
I can pay you
Ava,
for
I'd
it
be
too
willing
if you
to do-
need. Pay you for your time.
Nope. Not gonna let you pay for it. I spent, your company's enough. If it will make you happy, yes, I will do it. Man, emotions are weird. He says as he gets up and walks away. Just
Where do you
looking out
walk
the window.
to? Out
Just
of
to the window, looking out.
Mm-hmm. Just mostly just stand up and turn. It's not a
Yeah.
big room. She stands up and comes to stand next to you. You okay?
Okay is a relative term.
What are you thinking?
I think you look amazing without any of that stuff, and I think losing that would suck.
She slips her arm up around yours. It's very nice to say.
Seth goes all wide-eyed. I would only say it if it's true.
Yeah, I don't figure you for a liar.
I'm not good at it.
That's not a bad thing.
That's true. It's a bad thing for a detective usually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you don't like the idea, I'll think about it.
I would like you to think about it. If it's what you want and it makes you happy, well, I'll do it 100%.
It's an interesting conversation for you because even though you are not super great with emotions and everything, you realize that there is a little bit of a disconnect because you can't tell what she's thinking because her face has no expression.
Yeah.
I'm trying very hard not to smile or frown or anything, to not give you any hints. She just kind of stands there for a little while. Well, we should, I don't know. You have anything else we should talk about, or maybe we should go on a walk?
We could do that. I felt emotions today. Like strong ones.
Oh, yeah? Good ones, I
Yeah.
hope.
No. He says
Oh.
as he opens up the door and they walk out. It was just angry. I was angry.
I'm sorry.
There were people beating up on somebody else and I didn't like that.
Oh,
I
well,
almost
then
hurt
that's
some
not
people.
really anger. That's righteous indignation and protective courage.
I like those words better than anger.
Then you use those words instead of anger.
I
It
will.
also
Thank you,
confuses
Ava.
people a little bit. The more syllables you use, the more they think that you're agreeing with them, even if you're not.
You're very smart, Ava.
I'm not. I just read a lot of books. And I know how people work.
That's what makes you smart. I don't read books that much.
Yeah, maybe I should get you a bookshelf. I can borrow some of mine.
I would like to read your books, yes.
All right.
And I
you
guess
guys-
they just take a walk.
Yeah, take a
Yeah.
walk, have a chat, walk her over to the tin screw for work. He gives you
Yeah.
a little squeeze of the arm. Not that you could feel it.
Sev is just stunned, though, even with that.
I hope you have a good night.
You too.
My
Hope to
work
see you tomorrow.
is simple and predictable. Stay safe, okay?
Safe is hard in my job, but for you, I'll try.
She nods and goes inside.
Sev is going to, actually skip back to the office.
The most terrifying thing to see on the street, a giant metal man skipping. Leaving,
He is
there's little chips
ecstatic.
of concrete from the sidewalk getting broken off at every step.
If Sev knew how to sing, he would be doing it right now. He's going back to the office, locking up, and then heading back to Elhan's for the night.
All right.
Still wearing a suit. No guns, though.
All right. There's anything else that needs to be done?
Nope.
Okay. Then we'll move to this midnight meeting. Probably the last thing that we'll do before the end of the game tonight. I would like, unless someone is specifically wanting to arrive early to stake out the location, I want each party to have an individual roll initiative for them. See who arrives first.
I think we determined last time Vivian had the highest dexterity, so
Yeah.
I would have requested Vivian roll our initiative roll.
Okay.
Vivian's telling us to get there on time and, rushing us out.
Dirty 20.
Wait. I would like to specifically be early to hide in the shadows,
Okay,
because that's my thing.
that makes sense. Are you going by yourself? Are you bringing Edie? What is your
I am bringing Edie,
entourage?
and while I am bringing only my rapier, because I only said no guns, she's more than welcome to bring as many knives as she wants.
Yeah, she does take a quick stop off her apartment which if you go with her, it is a crazy mess. It is a studio apartment. There is not a bed. It is like a couch, and there are just knives stuck in the walls all the way down. Tons of bubblegum wrappers, because that is her primary primary food intake, is a lot of bubblegum. She grabs a whole bunch. She grabs different clothes for her to wear. Yeah, you two are able to get to the meeting point a little bit early.
So I'm totally gonna roll up in my fancy black car. Like if you've ever seen like a 1978 Mercury,
I don't think you have a fancy black car anymore, man. I think that got...
Totally took one from somebody. Duh, I've got underlings that use things.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
It may not be mine, but I'm no peasant.
Sure.
Trying to roll up and park and use my exceptional super sneaky stealthiness to just hide in the shadows.
Okay, roll a stealth check.
Edie. We're here to try and use these people, so don't kill them.
Whatever you say.
I got a... Where's my bonus? +7. 17.
Okay. Edie only got a 13. What's the passive perception of you three?
I think that Elhan's going to be approaching passively. No, he's going to be on the lookout.
Okay, then roll active insight checks.
Like, I know how criminals work. Insight or perception?
Perception. If you want to go up doing insight, you can. But...
You said insight.
Oh,
so
did I say insight? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good. That would be a 15.
Okay.
Oh, natural 20.
Hmm.
It's funny because
18.
Okay.
The insight roll was a natural 1.
So Elhan, you do see Edie, who she's not like crouched behind anything. She's kind of like leaned in the shadows, but she does have like a knife in her hand that's occasionally catching the light of the city streets above and the moon. She's the only one that you see, but you other two do see another figure, a little bit more stealthily hidden, but visible to you.
Seb's just gonna go, you know I can see you, right?
I don't
To the
really
shadows.
care if you can see me. Who are you and why are you talking to me? I'm only here to speak to the detective.
I mean, I'm also a detective, but he's the lead one, yes.
I'm sorry, where's your badge?
He's not
Not
a
that type of detective.
police detective. He's
So
a
you're
private.
not a detective. You're a private investigator. There's a difference.
Detective for 20 years.
But not one now. Again, officer, can you keep your robot on his leash?
He's his own person. He does what he wants. I'm not gonna, I can't. He's a, I'm sure you're aware of the passing of the Sentience Act or whatever the name was that I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's Iron Suffrage movement.
Yeah, the Iron Suffrage movement.
Yes, I'm aware.
So,
Anyway, allow me to introduce myself for your companion and your pet. My name is, well, you can call me Gene. Now, I imagine you have many questions.
a few, yeah. Like,
Go ahead, detective.
what were you doing in my apartment?
Well, you see, I was attempting to, save your friend.
You were attempting to save my friend, huh?
Yes.
Why do I doubt you?
because it definitely didn't start out that way.
Alright, what made it end that way?
When I weighed my options and realized that you were my best bet, you were
My
trying
best
to cut me a deal earlier.
It was. Needed some dirt.
What kind of
Had-
dirt?
Work for a certain department in the department that isn't particularly popular amongst all officers, rooting out specifically corruption amongst policemen. My task was to, find all the dirt I could find on the 12th. If you have that information, anything that would help me put those officers away for a very long time so we can get newer, better officers in there, then
Well,
I would appreciate it.
I imagine that you would like to know how I found where you live. So
I
I'll
would
offer
very
you
much.
I'll offer you this as a gesture of goodwill before I fill you in on the events of today. There's that desk sergeant who works a graveyard shift. The kind of roly-poly one. Doesn't look like he could pass a fitness test.
Alright.
And it wasn't
Sure,
that.
have him take it out as soon as possible.
Now then, where to begin? So, I worked for a woman, very flashy Eladrin. Worked being the operative phrase. She suffered an unfortunate dose of lead poisoning recently.
Workplace accident.
Hazards of the
Tragedy.
job. And she sent me off to that bar that you just so happened to be at the other day. Because we were having issues with that black sludge. But
I
of course,
remember that.
she sent me with no information, which was strike one. Oh, I guess I should back up. I also got arrested. That was strike one. You see, I'm supposed to be the middleman. I'm not supposed to get in trouble. I'm supposed to handle things generally peacefully and keep business flowing. When I get arrested, that doesn't work. So I guess I should say that was strike one. The goo was strike two. Seeing as how you were there, your robot was there, and I believe you were there too, miss, along with your friend.
Were you the one that I showed to Mr. Ashenworth?
Yes, Mr. Glass at your service.
Don't look the same, but that does sound the same.
I'm very good at what I do. You don't get where I am by being bad or performing poorly. So anyway, you see I had loose ends to tie up. Now, I'm not the kind to get my hands dirty and leave bodies. That's her. And that was Ayana. But you see, business doesn't go well when the cops have to jam you up. Both the actual good kind like you and the pathetic, worthless kind like your partner, who, by the way, is also on the take.
I'm not very surprised.
Another gesture of goodwill, if you will. Now, today, we went to your apartment with the intention of taking a look, seeing what was there, and we discovered that your friend and your psychopath ASMR monster that you left behind were there. Ayana told me to pull. What was her name? I don't know that she ever told me her name. But to tell me to pull the other barmaid out the window. You see, that would be the second felony that she's committed in broad daylight, with me literally right there. In the past few weeks, and that was strike 3. So anyway, I attempted to make contact with whoever was there. I told to be honest, I wouldn't even say angelic friend. She was more like a monster from hell. That I was looking for you. Like I said, you're my best option. And the next thing I knew, Ayana had pulled the barmaid out the window.
Waitress. We worked at a lounge, a classy lounge, not a bar.
It has a bar. I apologize. A waitress. You'll have to tell me why you were working at such a dump, however. We have much better ones. But that can wait till another time, Miss
You can call me Vivian.
Vivian. A pleasure. Anyway, your waitress friend and your monster friend. Long story short, we ended up in a car. Your monster friend exploded. We got into an accident. My boss and her thug experienced a much more serious workplace accident. And despite the fact that I had killed the leader of the Regalier and her chief goon, the ASMR friend of yours, detective, attempted to destroy me. I even gave her my gun. So, upon my return, I found out that one of my underlings had been planning to take me out and then take Ayana out, which is how this power vacuum has started. You see, I am of the belief, as I said earlier, that peace is what makes the wheels of business run smoothly. Yes, what we do may be outside of the rules and regulations set forth. The less killing and bloodshed, the better. I can't say that this competitor of mine shares that sentiment. And in order for me to take control at least of this section of our operations, I will need some help. Nothing illegal.
You think a cop is the way to get the help you're looking for?
I offer you names of the worst offenders, and you don't bring me in. You don't bring my dear Edie in. And we assist you in eliminating the more radical elements, whether that's through incarceration or entombment.
You hear Edie giggle.
Oh, Mr. Gene. Shade City's a very sick place. But I
Yes.
don't have any interest in dealing with symptoms. I want to deal with the root cause. Right now, you seem more like a symptom than a cause. As long as you remain that way, well, we can work together.
It's a sick place, you say. Well, let's say that I am a symptom. But a symptom could lead you to a cure, or at least a treatment to keep you alive. You help
Right.
me. And perhaps in the future, I can help you eliminate some of the more cancerous elements.
Well,
You see, there used to be a saying, honor among thieves, that has largely gone away. From the stories that my father told me in the past, it used to be that there was a mutual understanding between the police and members of my establishment. We had our spats and our disagreements, but I can recall several instances of officers being killed by those who are out of line. And then mysteriously, the body of the chief suspect winding up on the river. And I can guarantee that those mysterious deaths weren't investigated too hard. There's a line that we're not supposed to cross, and many people have been crossing it as of late. And like I said, it's been bad for business. It's how we end up with things like goo monsters from sick people. Because nothing is running well. The oil in the machine has gotten old and dirty. No offense, Mr. Robot.
A lot of offense has been taken, but I'm just gonna let it slide.
Well,
He's like counting down from 10.
good work, Seb. So,
Vivian puts her hand on Seb's back and just gives it a little pat. Like, you're doing a good job, bud.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I would appreciate if you treated my partner with a little bit more respect, sir.
he can't be your partner. He's not a cop.
He's my partner for the time being. I'm not exactly working. I'm working under jurisdiction, certain jurisdiction, but not the jurisdiction of the 12th.
See. Well,
And Edie goes, ooh, renegade? Oh.
I have someone looking into the 12th. When I have a list of names, then I can send it your way. But what I need from you is I have a list of some of my competitions. And not all of these are going to be correct. If he's intelligent at all, he will have been moving. But I have a list of our old known haunts and safe houses, stash houses, armories, known associates. And I need you to start putting the squeeze on him. In exchange, I'll help you be rooting out the dirty officers in the 12th.
I'll need, I'll need help, made to make sure my arrests are sticking. If I'm arresting people and they're just going right back on around the streets like you did, then this will be all for nothing.
Understandable. This power vacuum means that I don't have quite the influence that Ayana did. I can't guarantee every single officer in the 12th is going to be faithful to me. Especially since it's entirely possible that I'm about to put them in, through your help, I'm about to put them in with the other, some of the people that they've put away over the years. And let's be fair, whether it was on our orders or not, nobody appreciates getting locked up.
Understandable. Well, it's the only request that I have. I'm sure that my companions might have some things that they'd like to get out of this deal as well.
Very well. I'll see what I can do.
You don't want to hear their demands?
I'm listening.
I'm not sure why I need to continue, actually. If you're no longer looking to kill me so that I can't testify against you.
I was never looking to kill you. Make you disappear. And sometimes I make people disappear better than they started. Tell me, someone like you wouldn't have been working at that lounge for kicks and giggles. What was it you were going for? What was your dream? Everyone has a dream.
To make it big on the stage. To prove to my parents that I could do it.
I can make that happen.
Oh,
Legitimate.
really?
Yes. Now, it's gonna come as it may come as a shock to you, it may not, but big stars have expensive tastes, and we provide expensive taste. People with expensive taste, their favorite treats. That means we have a lot of influence in those spheres. I can make that happen, if that's what you wish, after everything. My advice would be, don't use the stuff. You see, we have the large casino. What's your performance? Piano, tap, singing?
Piano, singing, flute, the lute.
Everything. A regular Lonely Hearts Club band.
Not all at once.
The Fortuna Nera. I could see you up on that stage. But tell me, what is it that you truly want? I apologize. I've been filling your head with all of these dreams. Share with me yours.
I want to make it on the stage and be successful.
Very well.
If you can promise me that, then I will keep helping. Otherwise, sayonara, I'm off to find another job and a place to live.
I bet you we could set you up with both of those things. Very well. Once this part of the city is mine, I will get you on that stage. Now for you, Mr.
Sev. The name
Sev.
is Sev.
Short for Severus? Seville?
7. Short for 7.
Have you thought about picking a real name as opposed to a number?
That's who I am.
Very well, Mr. 7.
2 things. There's a lot of injustice done to Warforged in this town. I want your criminal organization to take care of anybody that does do these injustices to them.
No. I'm not the government.
No? You're not gonna help people that have hurt people?
I told you. I don't like the messy part. Things.
Well, not you specifically.
I can't punish people for having opinions. I'd have to punish myself. And you see, self-flagellation's not really my thing.
He goes, well, you could at least know somebody that could help change a Warforged face.
We probably
a
have
really good job.
We probably have somebody in the that's retired from the police's unit of who made the Warforged. I'd have to do some looking, and that wouldn't be a fast request. I would definitely need to solidify my hold, but I could definitely try.
Okay, and then only other thing I would ask for is just some criminal contacts I could talk to for when I'm looking for people.
Mr.
I'm not the
Sev.
police. I can't turn them in.
Mr. Sev, you are asking me quite a bit of things that, to be 100% honest with you, are very unrealistic. You see, with Miss Vivian, I can offer her that because we run the Fortuna Nera. With Detective Anderson, I can offer him that because I know those things. I know those people. I have that solid information. But putting people's lives And telling them, yes, you must trust this person you've never met to give him whatever information you're seeking, that's something a little bit different. It's
Edie
like I
pipes
said,
up. Jeannie just wants some friends. I'll be your friend, Mr. Robot Man.
He nods towards Edie.
I guess you
How
have your
knife
own
proof is your metal skin?
I
Edie.
can literally bounce bullets off me.
Oh.
Poorly aimed, I'm sure. Anyway, Sev, may I call you Sev?
Sure.
Sev. You seem to be a capable automaton person, I guess is what you prefer. I'm positive that you have it within you to cultivate your connections.
Be a
I
lot
can
easier
tell
if
you
you
what.
did it for me.
Detective,
Yes.
your TIs. It took you time and effort to cultivate them and get them to trust you, correct?
That and a lot of money.
You see,
There
Sev.
you, there you go, Sev. Money. Money is power, but money is easier. Ask for money, Sev.
Money? Fine.
We can arrange a business arrangement, but getting people to trust you is going to have to come from somewhere within inside that tin stomach of yours. You want to be treated as an individual. You want your people to be treated as people. You're going to have to prove that you are people. The world is harsh and cold, and there's
You don't
injustice,
have
as
to.
you said. No, I don't have to. But I had to prove myself to be where I am at now. What I'm getting at, Sev, is that you are in a position here where you can change this small corner of your world. We have a lot of power, but I am no god. Now, if you wanted to discuss a business arrangement with the two of us, perfectly legitimate, detective. I can help you get some of that money. But the fire that I see in your cold metal eyes indicates to me that you don't need my help to develop those connections. And you don't need my help for you to stand up and be something. Now, I've reconsidered your first request. When this is all over, if you can come to me with a solid business proposition as how we can try and make it a better world for the Warforged, I guess. We can find a way to fund it and to back it and to distribute whatever propaganda and messages and all of these things. And I guess there's probably legislators and bigwigs out there that would be more than happy to get their names plastered all over the face, shaking hands with retired police detective Sev, hero of the 12th Precinct, and Detective Elhan Anderson, who's... I was going to say single-handedly, but that would not be the correct word. Cleaned up the streets. We can try and make that happen. But I think you can make the change that you were wanting to make. I guess this is my
We'll
advice.
see.
Use that courage that was magically given to you. And let go of some of the rage, boy. It clouds your judgment. Anyway, are there any other requests?
Just seeing if you can get somebody that can help a Warforged face.
Take a
I
look
think
at
I
that.
know a guy.
Not
You
maim a
know a
Warforged
lot of
face.
guys that you haven't told me.
I'm popular with guys, okay? Don't blame me. He works
That'll
on
be
the
enough.
cars. But he does a lot of the little things too. I've seen him mess with people's guns and things. Adds details, adds flair. I've had him work on some knives for me.
I'm not surprised. So this face, Mr. Seven, do you just want a mask? You
Needs to
have
be a
one.
real attached face to the Warforged. Something
real
good enough for
attached.
TV.
Something good enough for TV. I imagine that's going to be quite expensive. Do you know how many muscles are in the human face? Or the elf face? I bet you Edie could tell you. It'll take a long time and a lot of magic and a lot of gold. But we'll make something happen. Now then.
Okay.
Do I get to make requests too?
No,
Oh.
I pay you. And I offer you my companionship.
Seth's door
Is there
stops the car.
something? Is there something your companion wants of us?
Could you possibly give her? You're offering her leniency the same as you're giving to me.
For now, yeah.
Alright, Edie, what do you want?
Oh, I don't have
apologize.
anything now. It'll come to me. I know. I
I
can feel it.
apologize for dismissing you out of hand.
No,
Very well
I just
then.
enjoy watching you work.
I am
I'll
very
think of
dashing
something.
while I work. Detective.
Sorry, what?
I said detective, Miss Vivian, Mr. Sev. And I'm going to pull out a piece of paper in my pocket with an address of where I think is most likely to be, based on my knowledge of like the surrounding area and the kind of people who were, purchasing drugs and kind of like the supply chain of things that I kind of had to manage under Ayana. One that it wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense for Belby to pull out of, if that makes sense, Lydia.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to hand it to Detective Anderson and say, this is a key place in the supply chain of Belby's half of the precinct. And I wouldn't go in there, just the three of you.
Well, you kind of chased off the only other person that I could count on to start. I guess I'll have to track her down.
But you work for the Rat Squad,
I do.
and you can't get a bunch of rats and
We like to wait until we are till we're busting a precinct before we pull out the biggest guns.
Well, that's my first request. I'll get you some names once you've accomplished that. Oh, and the other thing, I'm certain you care about that goo. Another freebie, detective. Our chemist tells me that there's something wrong with one of the ingredients coming from the Feywild. The only way in that I know of is through the casino.
Something
I
tells me
imagine-
that our journey's going to take us there.
Yes, I imagine that before all this is through, we might be up against the Dom himself. Are you ready to take on the entire criminal underworld, detective?
Anything to help cure this city.
How about we take it off of life support and get it walking again? Then we can work on a cure.
Think we can work on that?
I'm going to... The way I was seeing it in my head is like we're under this, the bridge and the moonlight is coming down and Detective Anderson and his friends are over here in the light and Edie and I are in the shadow. And I'm going to walk to the line of the shadow and the light and I'm going to reach out my hand. Do we have a deal, detective?
I take his hand. Say we do.
Very well then. You have my number. Actually, I feel like we're both going to need to move.
Oh yeah. But
I
at least I can wait till this is over.
Yes, I can't. I picked the place to meet this time. You picked the place and time.
Get back to you on that.
Very well. And with that, even though Adam's not wearing his hat because he couldn't find the right headphones, I'm gonna tip my hat to you and bid you adieu. And as I turn around, I'm gonna pause and I'm going to say over my shoulder to Sev, "Don't let your dreams be dreams, Mr. Robot. But don't let your anger get in the way of finding the ending that you seek." And I'm going to disappear into the shadows.
Seb's just counting down from 10.
You hear a voice. Wait, do you dream?
Probably of electric sheep. Ha! Ha! Ha!
So,
He
Seb just
giggles
goes,
as well.
In terms of Vivian, I don't. I'm not going to answer it to them, but I don't.
Don't worry, Sev. Don't let them get to you.
I wanted to kill him so bad.
He'll have his day. Don't think that I'm gonna let him just get out of this scot-free.
I am a little confused about how you're gonna cure the city by working with a criminal to become the top dog, but I'm interested to see how this turns out.
Oh, he's not gonna be the top dog. He's only gonna be He's gonna only be one of the rungs in the ladder. We're not to the top dog yet. I'm hoping that he'll take us there.
We should probably talk about this in the car. If not.
I imagine we're walking and talking.
Yeah, definitely walking and talking.
Seb's like, well, as long as we're not going to continually work with him, I'm okay with it.
See, he's a symptom. Once the disease is cured, symptoms tend to go away. I'm sure that he'll persist for a little bit, like a bad cough. But once we've gotten the city taken care of, he and his kind, it won't last much longer.
Good. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. S7. In between words, Sev is counting down. He's like, I can't do breathing exercises because I don't have lungs.
Right. And that's where we're going to end tonight. Thanks for coming with us on this fun ride. It's not where I thought we would end up tonight, and I love it. Our next game is in 2 weeks on the 24th, if I can do math correctly. Between now and then, there will be Rehash the Rolls on Wednesday and another Ready to Roll episode the week after. Probably will be some painting streams in the meantime, if I am not too crazy busy. But thanks so much for coming. We love y'all a bunch. Have wonderful adventures and even better dreams. Good night.